Hello everyone! How we doing tonight? Thank you for the follows, Wesley. Thank you for the follow, Caesar. How we doing, gang? Let me just move on to the right scene. Hello everyone. Let's make the camera bigger, shall we? I seem like I'm very small. Yeah, that should be better. Thank you for the follow, T-Wiki. Who? Everyone's following. Yo, Cis, how you doing, my brother? How's everyone been doing on this Wednesday? I'm sorry, I'm like super late. Usually I start at 8 p.m. Paris time, so I don't know what time it is there, wherever you are. But like usually I start at 8 p.m. I had something to do regarding streaming and work, so could not be there at 8, but we'll be there at 9, and we'll be talking set to deck building. It's been a long-awaited stream. I noticed it. By the way, what is like is X not even open? I noticed it because I've been posting lists on my Twitter account, X account, however you want to call it, for the past week or so. And like literally every list that I posted regarding potential set to legends became instantly became a banger tweet. Which I'm not going to complain, but also I was kinda surprised that people were so eager to jump into set 2 right away after Houston. That being said, I kinda get it. We are going to have regionals on the set 2 format in a bit less than a month, about 3 weeks ago in China, starting I believe 7th of January, something like that. So we are going to have a lot to talk about regarding set 2. And I did want to have some sort of set to talk with you guys, as we already reviewed all of the cards in the past. If you want to, by the way, I have to say cards, because someone in the YouTube comments quoted me saying, why do you say cards when the actual pronunciation is card? So chat, correct me tonight. If I go card too often, you guys have the right to punch me in the face, because I will try to go for cards right now. And maybe also it will help auto subs work better, because they never get me when I'm saying cards. Most of the time they are like chords, as in I'm playing something or whatever. So yeah. Or even in completely different roles. So let's try to go for cards, right? Oh, Kitty Cat wants to go outside. Give me a second. Go, Kitty. Go. Yep. Great. Perfect. So the plan for tonight is I already have 4 lists that I want to share with you guys. Which are the 4 lists I posted on X. By the way, if you want to have these like straight when I post them, feel free to follow me there. I'll be posting more set 2 deck building for sure, and I'm also like posting / reposting Riftbound intel. So feel free to follow me there if you want like straight out of the box intel. We are going to talk about Rek'sai, Irelia, Ornn, and Ezreal, which are the 4 decks that I did build and test. Some of them more than others, but I have a theory behind like all of the lists, and I also have some ideas of how to improve them. So I'm going to showcase my deck building process, my thoughts, and then I'm going to jump onto the next one. And once we're done with these 4, of course, you guys can like ask questions. Why would we not want to play these cards? Do you think this card is good? Blah, 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 blah. And once this is done, we are going, depending on the time we have, we are going to try and build some other decks. So as I mentioned, I've already built 4 legends. In fact, I did build 5. I did make an Azir brew, but I did not try it yet. And I don't want to share something that I did not have the opportunity to test. Because then it would mean like maybe I'm sharing something that's not working at all, and we don't want that, obviously. I'm pretty confident in the Ezreal, Rek'sai, Ornn, and Irelia lists being at least viable. So we are going to talk about that. And then once we're done, we are going to try and jump onto a new legend. Try to make it work. I have some ideas. I kind of want to do Draven. I kind of want to do Sivir. And maybe once we're done building them, so we are going to dig into the potential cards, what we want to do with the deck, what's the philosophy. You guys can also get some of my thought process kind of while deck building. So like, yeah, he thinks about that, he cares about that, this is something that I should try to implement in my deck building, and so on and so on. We are going to talk about all that. And then maybe if we have time, I kind of want to have 1 or 2 best of 3s against you guys on like TCG Arena or something. Most likely TCG Arena, because like it's clean, it feels good to use. to test the list that we just brew and see if this works, if it's just like not there yet, if we need to make improvements, ideas, stuff. So yeah, we are going to do all that tonight. Hope you guys are excited as I am. And most likely we are going to be doing that for at least this week and maybe the next one or part of it, because there are 12 legends. I already have builds for 4/5. Let's say we make it 6, building another one tonight, and then I try to build the other 6 in between like next week and next week's stream. And we have the 12 legends, or at least a base to understand what they want to try and do. So I hope this fits what you guys hoped for the stream. And let's dig into it. Also, while doing my very own research, I was kind of surprised to see that we did not have that much data on like the new legends. While I thought like there's been really something like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And I've not seen like a lot of people tinkering with them and like making videos and stuff, which I'm kind of surprised, I must say. But we're going to try and make up for that tonight. Thank you for the follow, Nekumi. Are your deck lists public? Not yet, but I guess I can make them public now. I was kind of tinkering with them, so how about we talk about them? We make the few updates here and there that I have after testing with them. So you should probably play this instead of this, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then we make them public and you guys can have access to it. How about we do that? I guess this is great. So let's get back to Twitter first. And the first, this is my account, okay. I believe it was it before that? No, it was not. It was after that. It was there. The first list that I did post on Twitter was Rek'sai. So, yo, Yuki, how are you doing, my brother? So how about we start with Rek'sai? I'll update the stream title. Building Rek'sai build for set 2. Here, perfect. So now they know we're talking about Rek'sai, and let's jump right into the list. I'm going to need a pen, and most likely I'm also going to need an image, because this will be easier to look at. Let me grab the pen and image. Should we export? I mean, I also need the card gallery somewhere. And then I guess we can export an image out of this and use this as a base. Can you explain how Ezreal works this stream? Like the deck, not the legend. Yep. I'm going to talk about that. The 4 that I did build are Rek'sai, Ezreal, Ornn, and 4th one is... Why am I dumb, boss? Rek'sai, Ezreal, or Irelia. Sorry, Irelia. And so we are going to talk about these 4 first, and then we are going potentially to build 1 or 2 decks together. Hopefully we have time for that. So we have card gallery. Let me just grab the image I just exported there. Here we go. Perfect. So this was my... Actually, it was not my first Rek'sai brew. I did have another one first with a few changes here and there. I'm going to talk about the first one. I'm going to talk about this one. And then I'm going to talk about potential updates, because I think there is at least one major update that we have to do to make this work. Very fine. I'm very happy because I win a RP Yu-Gi-Oh! Important duel. Oh, huge. Congrats, brother. So, this was my first Rek'sai Brood Void Casino. I called it like that because like I made Rek'sai into a hook deck. You guys are going to guess like to figure out why soon enough. But this was my first brew. The idea behind that is that I really want to capitalize on both these cards, being like Under Titan and Void Drone. So for you guys who don't know, let's start with what's important at the very beginning of stuff. Let's talk about the legend for a second, just as a reminder. Probably most of you know about it already, but if you don't, Rek'sai is a Fury Order, so red-yellow legend that reads: when you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cores of your main deck. You may play one, then recycle the rest. And you're going to see that this kind of like digging mechanic, like excavating from the top deck and trying to search for key pieces, is exactly what I wanted to look for in building this deck. And you're going to see that we can somehow make red yellow, which supposedly is an aggro archetype, right? We don't have draw power. We have a lot of ways to spawn tokens, to spawn might. We can make red yellow a somewhat consistent deck, and that's what surprised me at first while testing Rek'Sai. Was like, it actually felt good. I did try Darius Hook. I did not like it because some games you have the nuts and they can't win, and some games you have nothing and you can't win. And playing Rek'Sai felt like completely different. It was like super cool, kinda almost super stable, I want to say. So the idea there was to try to have that high roll potential that Darius has, Darius Hook. I mean, in like, okay, I'm playing the Hook, I'm playing that stuff, I want to see them good cores, and then once I hit them, I'm kinda unstoppable. But trying to make it way more consistent than it is in Darius. And so that's what we are going to talk about right now with this Rek'Sai list. The first thing is that, yeah, I mentioned it before, I wanted to maximize my opportunities to find super good cards. And them good cards, what I call the MVPs of the deck, are the baited Hook, here, and the quote-unquote might cheaters, which are the Vanguard Captain and the Sprite Matrons and Draven. Spectral Matrons and Draven. These are the cards that you want to see if you play Hook. If you play Darius Hook, these are the cards that you want to play off the Hook. These are also the cards you want to open in your opening hand for the Vanguard Captain, so you can like slam it on boards, then you kill it for the Hook or something, then you have access to Matron and stuff. So that was the idea, that I wanted to maximize consistency on this build. And to do that, we have a lot of tools available in Rek'Sai that we did not have in Darius. We have the legend ability. So every turn, basically, we are able to dig 2 cards from the top deck, maybe 4, but like realistically, so you have to tap Rek'Sai to... So no, it's not even maybe 4. Realistically, it's only 2, but like you can kind of do it every turn because you play red yellow, so you play a lot of aggro stuff. We have to play some of them cards to maximize that ability to conquer. You are going to see that we get in there later on. And I also think you could play a hookless build. That could be good too. Maybe Rek'Sai ends up being a hookless deck, but I don't think playing Hook Rek'Sai feels as bad as playing Hook Darius, in my opinion, because of that extra consistency. So to find my MVPs, we need consistency. I talked about it before. One of them is that Rek'Sai legend ability. Another one is the Void Rush. Void Rush is Rek'Sai's signature spell. It's like super important in the deck. Void Rush is the signature for Rek'Sai, and it reads: reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one of them, reducing its cost by 2, and then draw any you did not play this way. So basically, not only is that another way to dig your top deck, just as you would do with the Legends ability, for kind of free, you pay the power, but you reduce the cost of what you play by 2. So it's almost as if you like just dig 2 and play for free, but also the power is meant to draw the other one. And usually in Riftbound, it's like you pay power, you draw a card. Clockwork, Kiana, blah, blah, blah. So I'm very fine with paying a power to dig 2 and play one of them. Sometimes I also want to add the 2 cards to my hand. Let's say I flip a Blood Rush and like a Cleave. It happened to me, or Hidden Blade. I want to add them 2 cards to the hand. And also Void Rush allows you, just as Rek'Sai does, this is something that people misunderstood at first, or at least believed was not the case because they did not read properly the card, I believe. But like both Void Borrower and Void Rush allow you to play not only like units but also cards. So you can play the Hook of Rek'Sai's ability, you can play the Void Rush, the Hook of the Void Rush. So basically the idea is really to like get in that deck, cycle it, find that Hook in the early turns, and you will see that you do cycle a lot. So you really have the ability to find that Hook in them early turns, and then you just play it and you snowball off of it, and you just pick the cards you need off the top of the deck because of like your abilities, and you spawn them through the Hook. Also, another consistency card that's quite important, to say the least, is Void Hatchling. Void Hatchling reads: if you would, let me just pop it up for you so you guys can see it too. Voids. Actually, it reads, if you would reveal cards from a deck, look at the top card first. You may recycle it, then reveal those cards. So basically what this means is whenever you trigger Rek'sai's ability, you can look at the first one and then decide to bottom it and then resolve Rek'sai's ability, which means instead of looking at 2, you look at 3, basically. And same for Void Rush. Instead of looking at 2, you look at 3. Of course, you have to bottom 1, but then if it's bad, might as well bottom it to dig further into the deck. And so these cards combined, if you want to take notes, and also through the book, like if you want to take written notes during the game, which, friendly reminder, but you are allowed to do. Why don't I have a camera though? Where's the camera going at? Where's the camera? Did Kitty do something to the cables? Most likely, right? What did Kitty do? Let me just pop. Oh, program is over, so maybe there's that. Cam? No camera. Huh. What did Kitty do? Okay, great. And now I can just dip up this, rip up this, and should be good to go. Hopefully, yes, perfect. Okay, I'm back. So what I was saying is through them cards, so Link, Rek'sai, Void Rush, and Hook, you definitely have the ability to see, if not all your deck, most of it. And seeing most your deck means that you kinda know what you are revealing and when, and that's also super important for some cards like Under Titan. So there's a real feeling of consistency in that build. Then you are, let me just clear all of it, right? We are playing a Hook deck, so we need to pay a lot of yellow power. Sorry, we need to pay a lot of yellow power to activate the Hook every turn, to value cards such as Vanguard Captain, such as Matron. We also have Under Titan that values a yellow power. We also have Void Rush that you could pay a yellow power. So I decided to add in the seals. If it was only about yellow power, I probably would not have added the seals, to be fair. But there's a few things that these seals allow you to do. The first one is they allow you to trigger Vanguard in the early turns. Because usually in Darius, if you want to go for the seals Vanguard combo, you have to be going like on 3-4 runes. You have to have opened both. And then you have to play seal, then tap it to play Vanguard, then you spawn the tokens, even if you only have like 3 runes or whatever, right? In Rek'sai, it's a bit different. Because in the early turns, sometimes in your end, you have something like a turn 2 and a matron. Let me just clear this. Something like a turn 2 and a matron, and you have like 4 runes, let's say. And you want to use your board to attack first, to proc Rek'sai and check what you could potentially play before tapping your runes to play from your end, right? But then if you hit Captain off of this, or if you hit like Void Rush and then you can dig again, it kind of feels bad because you did not trigger the Legion properly, right? So like you attack, you conquer, you activate Rek'sai's ability, and you see Captain and you're like, I should have played something, but also if you commit something and then you find something like the Void Drone, but you don't have the runes to play it, it kind of does not make sense, right? So the seals are actually super good at activating Vanguard, and they are also kind of valuable in the long run, so you have a lot of runes. What feels super good with Rek'sai, in my opinion, is that since you play a lot of the top of the deck and you don't have this many power costs in the deck, once you find the seal, which once again you can find through Rek'sai and you can find through Void Rush too, so potentially these cards could help you dig for the seal for a bit more consistency. Once you find the seal, you often end the game with like 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand, which is like very not usual for red, yellow, and also 8 to 10 runes, which is like a big amount of runes for Red Yellow. So I kinda like the seals in the build. I think as long as you play Hook, they have to stay in there. If you opt for a non-Hook list, which probably means you cut some of these cards, you probably add Darius's and stuff, I guess you just are not playing the seals. That does not make sense. Then we are still playing an aggressive list. We are playing a legend that wants us to slap cards onto the board in the early game to be able to conquer, to be able to trigger its ability. So we are on 9 turn 1s with the Void Hatchling. I talked about it already. And then the Honest Broker and Trusty Ramhound. Basically, Ramhound is like, if you have another unit there, I have +1, so it's 3 mites. It's one, super good to conquer because it beats other decks turn 1s. If you have like something like a token to go with it. Without dying itself, I mean. And 2, it's pretty good too for the Hook stuff. Because then you can just kill it, it is 3 might. And so it gives you access to cards like Matron because of the +1. So like, yeah, Ramhound is pretty good. Also, Ramhound in the Triforian is 4 might and gives you access to the Under Titan, which is a super huge blow up card. So I really like the Ramhound, and Broker is just a good overall card. 2 might, turn 1, Death Knell, generate a gold token, so helps you pay for your early cost, your early Void Rushes, your early Hook, while you did not find a seal yet. A unit you are definitely happy to kill with the Hook to proc that Death Knell. And yeah, overall just a good turn 1. So I wanted to have 9 turn 1s to maximize the consistency and also to find some of them, like maybe several of them actually, in my opening ends. Because once again, in the mid game, sometimes I don't have a card to play, but I want to trigger Vanguard if I hit it from the top of the deck. And so on 5-6 runes, being able to commit a Honest Broker or a Ramhound or a Hatchling from your hand, and then you still have like 3-4 runes open, and then you can conquer. And if you find the Vanguard, you can proc the Legion. This feels good. So I kind of like this 9 turn 1s. I think you definitely need 9 turn 1s in that deck. The cards that I did not explain right away, or some of them are obvious, some of them I need to talk a bit about, but like they are kind of obvious too. The first ones are like Matron and Draven. You guys know about them already. These are the Hook's favorites. Why I don't play more of this, like they both of these are 2-offs. First of all, I don't want to draw them in the early game. Second, I kinda don't want to flip them from the top of the deck in the early game through like this effect, because they are super expensive and I still have to pay the cost if I flip them off of it, right? So I figured that I would be digging most of my deck anyway. I would be finding both of the copies anyway during the game. So I did not want to have 3 of them. Also, this gives us room for other cards in the deck. So like this was the plan behind it all. And then set cards that are super important are Blood Rush and Cleave. In my opinion, you definitely have to play playsets of both. Especially because you need to have that ability in the very early game to make sure you do conquer over sometimes big bodies. Like let's say you are facing Mastery. If you don't have a Cleave or a Blood Rush, you conquer a battlefield, you trigger like Borrower, blah, 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 blah. They conquer the other one with something like a Poro. Then if you don't have, you start your turn, you ult of the battlefield you conquered the previous turn. If you don't have something like a Blood Rush or a Cleave, you are stuck on that Poro or on that turn 1 for like a lot of time. While these are super good options to not only conquer in the early turn, because what you want is first check your options through like Rek'sai and stuff, and then play from your end if you need to. And also they are pretty good options to enable the Legion ports of Vanguard Captain. So I kind of feel like you need to have them in the deck. Blood Rush is super correct. Honestly, it's just straight up better Cleave. Of course, like paying 2 to get defied feels bad, but Assault 4 is such a game-breaking ability for a spell. Furthermore, an action, like if this was not even an action, if this was just a like normal spell like Charm and stuff, I think I would still play that card. It's just like cracked. So these cards are super important, And then we are left with Eden Blade, the battlefields, and the cards that we want to top off the top of the deck. So Void Drone and Under Titan are both super good cards. Void Drone is when you play me from anything else other than Ant, I believe. Other than Ed, reduce my cost by 2. In this deck, it's almost only good if you play it off the top of the deck through like Legend or Void Rush. But in these scenarios, it's super good. And aside from these scenarios, it's not such a high roll card, because then if you don't have access to like that play me from the top of the deck, but you draw it instead, it's still fine to drop a 3 might 3 energy body without a power cost. Like the card is not like super terrible compared to like Matron, which is like 2 power. If you have to play it from the end, it's like super giga expensive. Draven is super giga expensive. Void Drone is just average expensive. Thank you for the follow, Scribble. Welcome home, brother. Which I kind of feel like you have to play 3 of that card. And then Under Titan is just a perfect card for the deck. So Under Titan is a 5 might unit. Thank you for the follow, doing pop. When call home, brother. 5 might unit. So you can play it through the hook often. Killing like Matron, killing like Vanguard in the war camp. Like you have several ways to play it through the hook. It reads 2 things. First thing is, when you reveal me from the top of the deck, you can generate 2 temporary energies for the turn. This is super good. You definitely want to have 3 Under Titans in the deck to cycle them. You almost never want to play them in the early game. You just want to get the energy after energy after energy to play extra cards. And the other thing is, when you play me, I'm just going to show you the card actually. Under Titan, dear Under Titan. When you play me, give your other units +2 this turn. And this is kind of a pseudo mini stratagem that ended up being way stronger than I thought it would be for 2 reasons. The first reason is I was expecting Rek'Sai to have a hard time getting to high rune counts, which is the case for like, thank you for the follow, Walkyrie, welcome home, brother. Which is the case for like Darius. You struggle to get to high rune counts, or if you get to them rune counts, it's because you don't have cards in hand to play, and so it's bad for you, right? Rek'Sai is kind of different, because you have so many no power cost cards that are good, that most of the time you end up having the runes to play Under Titan, which makes it super good. That's the first thing. And the second thing, and for that thing we have to talk about the champion, is that you can accelerate all of these cards. And so these become such big blow up cards in the late game that you want to maximize the amount of these in the deck. You can accelerate these because of the Rek'Sai champion. I'm just going to show it to you guys because it turned out to be way more like incredible than I expected it to be. Red Rek'Sai is a 3/3 unit that reads Accelerate, Assault 1, so it assaults for 4 without a power cost. It's already like super good. And then it reads Friendly units played from anywhere other than a player's hand have Accelerate. And this ability is like super cracked. Like it's completely broken crack. Because then in the late game, what you have to do is like you set up basically your mid-game quest is like, I want to be aggressive, I want to use the blood rushes, the cleaves to get in the battlefields, conquer, stabilize my deck, trigger my legend, trigger my void rushes, and just build a base. Like a lot of tokens stuff in base, right? Then in the late game, what you can do when you know you want to close the game next turn is you drop that Rek'Sai in base, or you have to do the runes to just do it next turn, but like maybe you drop that Rek'Sai in base. Next turn it restats, and then you can start playing your stuff. You can start using the hook, you can start using the borrower, you can start using the void rush, and once you do that, if you hit any of these cards of the top deck, you can give them Accelerate through Rek'Sai. And that is completely cracked. Because then Under Titan Accelerate is +2 to anyone, other unit, and then it's a 5 might Accelerate. Draven, if you want to close the game, you are most likely on 6 to 7 points. So it's a 9 might or 10 might Accelerate. And then Matron, what's super good with Matron is that Rek'Sai champion gives Accelerate to your units from anywhere else than hand. Which means if you have the runes, you can just find the Matron, pay a rune, accelerate it, use its ability to play Vanguard Captain from trash, let's say, and then you played Vanguard Captain from trash, not from hand. So you can also pay a rune to accelerate that captain, and then it spawns token, but you did not play token from hand, so you can potentially pay extra runes to accelerate them tokens. So you can kinda guess that having all of them accelerate stuff is like super broken in the late game. I really do feel that Rek'sai champion is what we're going to see in the champion zone, and I really think Rek'sai could be a very decent deck. And also, I had 2 open slots in the list. I kinda wanted to have a scammer card, so I added the Eden Blade. What feels kinda good with that Eden Blade, surprisingly, is that you can play it off the top deck through Void Borrower, through Void Rush, and so I kinda wanted to have some sort of scammer card that in the late game, I'm in a tough scenario. Maybe I need to like recapture a battlefield, but I don't have the units to contest it or something like that. I'm into mastery and I don't want to like kill a billion of my units to deal with something like a dead blue. I can just conquer the other battlefield and then find a hidden blade off the top and try and kill the unit. Also, you can just use it on your own units, be it token, broker, stuff to draw cards. But most of the time you have a lot of cards in hand, so I try to use it on opposing units and it's done great for me so far. And I believe we've gone over all of the main deck cards. Was all of that like clear enough? Do you guys have any questions? Because like that's the philosophy I had trying to build that deck, making it as like we have that high roll potential, that ceiling that's super high, but I want the floor to be way higher than what Darius's floor is. I don't want it to be like Ook I win, no Ook I lose. I want it to be like competent deck, and then it gets good when I find Ook, it gets super good. So that was the plan, building this. Thoughts on Rin Runner. So Rin Runner is like, your opponent can't target me, right? Rin Runner, let me check. Yeah, these cards. I can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. I kinda don't like it overall. I guess it does not depend on meta. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that could trade these cards in set 2 that is not a spell or an ability. Blue Ornn, Irelia, even Rek'sai. Like a lot of decks have abilities to try trade these cards. So I don't think I like it. It's not like super bad, but it's kinda expensive too. Also regarding battlefields. This is... Yo Ari, how you doing, brother? This is probably... I would not say this is the perfect lineup, but so far, this is what felt the best through testing. Warcamp not only allows you to make all of your tokens like super good in a lot of scenarios, be it attacking or holding, but it also allows you to have a better hook because all of your units in there have +1, so when you kill them through the hook, you get that added value to play units. This allows you to have a 4 might ram out to play Under Titan off of it. This allows you to make all of your turn 2s 3 might, so Hatchling and Broker can now flip the Matron of the hook. This is just like an overall good lineup of battlefield for the deck, Warcamp. This is my game 1 battlefield. Then going first, you are an aggressive deck. You want the game to go fast. You don't want control them to catch up to you in the late game. So you play like that Arena's Greatest. I feel like it's just so good for aggro decks. It just feels so good. I think you have to play it. Also, a big problem with Arena is that most of the time, when you play Arena, you are afraid of like missing on your early game and being inconsistent, and so you give advantage to your opponent. This is why the card has been like not played in some case lists, for example, Randy's lists. This is not so much like, this does not happen often in Rek'sai because you have so much consistency through like this, and this also, that I kind of feel like you are never missing on your early game and your mid game. So I feel like Arena is like super free in the deck. And the last one is Candlelit. Candlelit is just like basically broken. At first I was playing Arena going like game 1 and then this going first and zone there. But I kind of feel like I want to play Candlelit game 1 now. So this is probably game 1. This is probably going second because then you can push with tokens and have like make big advantage off of it. And this is probably going first. And why Candlelit is so good is because when you conquer, you can sequence your triggers in between Rek'sai and Candlelit. So you can go trigger 1 Rek'sai, trigger 2 Candlelit, and so you resolve upwards or upside down, whatever you want. So like Candlelit resolves first, you look at the top 2 cards, you decide if you want them in your Rek'sai reveal or not. And if you don't want them, you just bottom deck them and you look for 2 extra cards. And if you want them, you keep them here and then you reveal and you can play them through Rek'sai. So this is like super duper good. It's proven to be giga useful in testing, and I feel like I was playing Zone Warrens at first. The list I posted on Twitter had Zone Warren instead of Candlelit, but I think it was a mistake. I think Candlelit is just a better one. I chose the same battlefields on Rek'sai, but wasn't playing the hook version. Yeah, I feel like you could play like without hook and have like maybe war camp changes, because then I'm not sure you want to play like Vanguards, Matron if you don't play the hook. But aside from that, I feel like these 2 battlefields, you have to play them in Rek'sai no matter what, hook or not. So I did print the deck. It's here near me. If you guys wonder how I do test a bit on TCG Arena, but most of the time I like to test Irelia. So I have the cards. I did print proxies. You guys can't see anything though. Let me just pop up to the big cam. Here, great. I do have the deck. I did print the cards. And I really do like it. It's like, it feels super good. If you want to print proxies, some people have been asking me about how to print quality proxies on Twitter because they think my proxies are like super high quality. I don't do a lot myself, to be fair. I don't do a lot myself. The thing is, you just get to build over archive. So like this is the list, right? This is the list that I just showcased you guys. You just go into like exports, print proxies. Then you pick what you want. You generate a PDF, and then I just went to the local printing factory and I paid something like €4 to print 5 pages. And then I have super high-end proxies. And then you just like, I use one-piece cards because I don't have enough respawn bulk to make up for the decks. But I just use one-piece cards and I slide in the paper. And then that's about a real TCG card, right? So that's how I do my proxies. And if you want to have quality proxies, I guess you can just do the same and it works like wonders. It feels super good playing. You have real cards in your hand, like does not feel like paper shit. You can shuffle and stuff without like having them break down. Like it just feels super good overall. Last thing that I wanted to talk about was the rune spreads. I'm on 8 yellow and 4. I think you have to be on at least 7 yellow, probably 8, maybe 9, because you have so many yellow power costs in this build. This is yellow, this is yellow, this is yellow, this is obviously yellow, even though it's not printing on it, this is yellow. And then the seal is yellow too, and this can pay yellow too. The only reason I'm not on less 4 runes, so like 3 or even 2 of them, is because of the red Rek'sai. You have to pay a red rune to accelerate it, and then if you find like the Draven or the Void Drone of the top deck through like the hook or the effect, and you want to accelerate them, you have to have red runes, because this gives accelerate to your units, right? But you still have to pay the accelerate cost. They just have the accelerate keyword. So you have to tap an energy and recycle a red rune to accelerate Draven and to accelerate Void Drone. And so I think we still need to have like 2 or 3 of them red runes in the late game to make these combos work. So I think 8-4 is the correct way to report the runes. Thank you for the photo, Xenota. Welcome home, brother. So that's about it for the Rek'sai list. Do you guys have any questions? I think I talked about like the overall game plan, the overall idea. I really do believe that you can play without the... Maybe I could talk about some tech cores that I wanted to try, but ended up cutting. One of them was Karma. This Karma. We are Spirit Forge only, my bets. Okay, perfect. One of them was Karma. In theory, Karma was like super cracked, because then Karma is like, when you recycle 1 or more cards, you buff a friendly unit. So you drop Karma in base, and then whenever you do Rek'sai's ability, you give a buff with Karma's effect. Whenever you resolve Hook, you give a buff through Karma's ability. Karma has vision, so you can get a buff there. Candlelit gives vision, so basically you could give infinite buffs to like units on your board. But I kind of figured this was like super slow. Most of if you want to have Korma in the deck, you probably want to play 3 of these, so you hit it as much as you can on curve. But then if you don't see the hook, it's not as good. That was a problem. And then if you see the hook, you are winning already, most likely. So do I want to play a win more card? Not sure. It's also super expensive. So when you have it in the end, you can't play it until like super late in the game because you don't have the runes to both play from the top deck and play Karma. And then once you end up finally playing it, you maybe recycle like once or twice, give once or 2 buffs, maybe 3 times, and then that's it. So this card was not super bad, but it did not feel as good as I expected it to be. So I ended up cutting it. At first I was playing 3 Karmas. And the other thing that I did end up cutting was Darius. I still think you could play Darius. So you guys know Darius, obviously. This dude. I still think you could play Darius. My only problem with Darius was that I did not want to find Darius in my reveals most of the time. And since you reveal more than you draw in this deck, I wanted to maximize the amount of playable cards from reveals. And if I play Darius, I want to play at least 2 or 3 of these. I don't want to cut the Matrons and the Draven. I don't want to cut the Under Titans. And so I kind of ended up having too high of a I don't want to play these from reveals cards. And that made me cut Darius. But you probably could still play it. It's not a bad card. Especially when you play like 3 Blood Rushes and 3 Cliffs. Like these cards combine perfectly. They just do wonders. But I kind of felt like I wanted to maximize my consistency of the top deck. And Darius was not helping in that way. Can you do Irelia next? We could do Irelia next, Ace Time. We could do Irelia. Irelia is one of the ones that I want to talk about. So we could definitely do Irelia next. Soraka, I did not try Soraka because I don't think the concept of the card is like super good aside from aggro. But also one of like, okay, let's read Soraka first and then we can talk about it. Soraka is a 4 energy, 1 power, 4 might unit, classic rate. That reads, I must be assigned combat damage last, and then if another unit you control here would die, if it has less might than me, instead heal it, exhaust it, and recall it. The idea with Soraka was that usually in aggro, you want your units on board to stay alive because you don't generate enough card advantage to spawn like super big waves again and again and again. So you want to drop Soraka to like kinda protect that board and then make it bigger and then make it bigger and then win the game off of it. Like a swarming strategy, basically. Rek'Sai is a bit different because since you play from the top of the deck, you always have a lot in the hand. So you can basically always reestablish. And into control, it kind of felt more like a war of not breaking, basically. And if I don't break, if my deck is consistent enough, I'm not going to lose to aggro. Because like, I'm going to attack, play something off the top, make card advantage off of it, play something off my end, I have a board. You have to Falling Star, you have to use a spell. Then next turn, I'm just going to attack, play something off the top deck, play something from my end, you have to use a spell. And so on and so on and so on, up until the point in which like, I just win the game because you don't have control spells. So you can't really play control into Rek'Sai. I guess into Kai'Sa though, as a sideboard card, this could be good because Icasian Rain and stuff, but then they can just sequence it. Aside from Icasian Rain, if you don't commit super hard into, what's the name? The blue court. Unchecked power, I feel like you're almost never having your entire board cleared. And that goes without saying if you have Hook, it gets infinitely better. Like, if you resolve a Matron Vanguard combo throughout the game, you're already out of, like, control range, basically. So I kind of felt like, yeah, it was not necessary, but it could. I guess you could play it as a sideboard card into specific control matchups like Kai'Sa and stuff. If we have more of this, potentially you could sideboard it. I don't think it deserves a spot in the main deck though. Are you gonna do Fiora? We could try and deck build Fiora once we're done with the 4 legends that I did build already. We could. I'm excited for Fiora. I'm excited for Azir, I'm excited for a lot of them actually. So we could do Fiora. If you guys want to do Fiora, we could do Fiora. Any extra questions on the Rek'Sai builds? And if you guys don't have any, let's jump straight onto the Irelia builds. And we need to edit a bit of it. Let's make Rek'Sai public, by the way. So you guys can just find the list if you want to. I believe I just have to do this. And then this. And then this, right? Void Casino. Yeah, great. Rek'sai builds. If you guys want to try the deck and print proxies, here you go. Rek'sai builds. Let me pin it for 20 minutes. Perfect. Great. Next up, Irelia. My decks. Let's jump straight into Irelia. If you guys have any Rek'sai question, feel free to ask them now. And then we are going to jump onto Irelia. To your image. Let's go. Let's go. There are a few updates that we need to do, but let's show you the first list before. This was my Irelia list. So for those of you who don't know, let's just jump straight to Irelia first, because we need to talk about the two important cores of the deck, and then we are going to talk about the list. Irelia is a legend that is green-purple, and that reads, when you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay Yo Caleb. You may exhaust me and pay a power to ready it, and then when you conquer, you may pay an energy to ready me, so then you can, like, if you choose the unit, pay another power to ready it once again, right? And then the MVP of the deck, I call this deck President Irelia for a reason, because this deck is basically protect the President, Irelia MVP, and she just, like, controls the entire board and kills the entirety of it. Irelia is a 5/4 unit without a power cost, so 5 energy, 4 might, that has deflect, which is super painful, very hard to deal with. And then when you choose or ready me, give me +1 this turn. So the first thing you have to consider with this Irelia is the first turn you play it, it's tapped. Maybe you want to accelerate it, but let's say it's tapped, right? Next turn, beginning of the turn, you ready it, it gets +1 might because it got readied. So basically this unit is a 5 energy, 5 might unit whenever it's your turn, which is what it does on its own, right? It's on the curve of like an energy for a might, and then it gets like super better through the cores in the deck. This was the first list that we did play. I'm going to talk about the philosophy of it, and then we're going to talk about the few problems that we did spot through testing, and we are going to talk about how to fix them and potential solutions that we found. So the idea, once again, was to play President Irelia without Stellacorn or the Refill Sorrow. We are going to talk about Stellacorn too, because I feel like this card is such big bait. But maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like Stellacorn is such big bait, and I kind of don't want to play that card, in my opinion. So, as you guys understood, probably to make this Irelia work, you have to use spells and target it. You can target it with abilities too, but most of the time it's going to be spells. And so this revolves a lot about moving the Irelia around the board, bringing it back to base, then moving to the other battlefield, pumping it to insane amounts of might. While testing Irelia versus Rek'sai, I was the Rek'sai player, and I ended up having battlefields with like 25 might or more being single-handedly cleared by Irelia champion. Like on its own. 25 might or more. And they did not need to use like a billion runes or a billion like power to do this. Just like having a Zonia or something was enough. So let's jump onto how the deck does this, but it kind of feels super good. Thank you for the follow, Dimitis. No, the deck did not feel that power angry because of the list and the way we build it around, not using too much power. So this was the first list. We are going to update a few things in a minute, but like let's talk about the philosophy first. Since we want to target that Irelia a lot, we have to play all of the available spells that do buff, because then these spells get even better through Irelia's ability. So we play the 3 Angwards, we play the 3 Feral Strands, we play the 3 Disciplines, and we play the 3 Signatures. Feral Strands is 2 energy, give +2, then repeat, give +2. So when you repeat this on Irelia, you give +2, then Irelia being targeted gives itself +1. Then if you ready it through Legend, it gets +1. So without the repeat, it's already potentially +3 or +4. And then using the repeat, it's an additional +3. So a single Feral Strands on Irelia is 7 might or 6 might. At least 6 if you repeat it, If you don't, 7. Why it also feels good, in my opinion, is that this is a card that you're afraid to play into green, because then if you tap 4 to use its ability and they use Defy, this card on you to negate it, it kind of feels like a waste. But that's not the case with green Irelia, because you go Feral, tap 2, target Irelia, then repeat, tap 2, target Irelia, then potentially Legend ability, pay 1, ready Irelia, and so even if Feral gets defied, you still have +3 might there, which is not like super insane, but it still feels good to have your card defied and you still get 3 might out of it. So yeah, I kinda liked that idea of playing Feral. Also, it allows you to not deplete your hand too much when you need to fight big bodies, because if you want to commit into a big body and you have to use like 2 or 3 spells, it kind of feels bad. Whereas if you have to use just 1 Feral and maybe 1 Engorge, you still have a lot of these spells to proc Irelia. So I really like that. Then Discipline is obviously good, Engorge is obviously good, and Defiant Dance is obviously super good. So Defiant Dance is give a unit +2 this turn, and then you give another unit -2 this turn. There are a few things to know about that card, so let's talk about it. Here we go. Defiant. This card on its own creates a 5 might swing, because it's like +2 and you target Irelia, so it's +3 to green Irelia, and then you give another -2 to someone else. So this is +3 -2. This is a 5 might swing. If you ready Irelia through Legend's ability, this becomes a 6 might swing. And this card is the reason, even if you don't have so many runes, even if your Irelia is at a battlefield, most of the time your opponent is not going to be able to contest you, because let's say you have 2 or 3 runes open and Irelia is 4 might tapped into a battlefield. You could be like, oh, it's super dangerous. They will find a way to trade it. But if you have something like Defiant Dance, then all of a sudden your Irelia is pseudo 10 might, because it's 6 might difference. So it's super giga hard to rush into Irelia. And also it has deflect. So even if they want to kill it with spells, if they use spells and you have this, it's a reaction. It's like game breaker. So this signature spell on its own, the sole fact that it exists, completely warps your opponent traits into your board. That's the first thing. The second thing is this does not have a limitation to reduce units to 1 might. So you can reduce units to 0 might. It does not kill them. It's not a control spell, right? But it still reduces them to 0 might. And so in some green matchups, if you want to trade into a turn 1 with your very own turn 1, so let's say they have something like a whatever traveling merchant, you are playing Irelia Mirror, and they have traveling merchant and you have a like Lonely Poro, something like that, and you want to use that trait, you can use Defiant to pump your Irelia to go for the other battlefields, and then you can reduce the turn 1 might to 0, and then you can trade the Lonely Poro, and even if they have something like Engorge or Discipline, they still give it +2, it's +2/+2, and you get a trade. So in some late game scenarios, this also comes up. And last but not least, the important thing about this card, it kind of gets countered by Not So Fast. Not So Fast is a counterspell, a new counterspell for green that I feel like you have to play in some decks like Ornn, probably in the main boards. Not So Fast is counter an enemy spell or ability that chooses a friendly unit or gear. Thank you, Monsieur Prop, for the photo. And so with this spell, you have the ability to target your own units to avoid being countered by Not So Fast. So let's say you only need like 3 might, 4 might, you can use Defiant on your Irelia, and then -2 on your like whatever traveling merchant in base, Tide Turner in base. And so they go down in might, but your Irelia still gets the +2. Then she got targeted, so she gets a +1. Then she potentially readies through Legend ability, so she gets a +1. And this card on its own for 1 might and a power is +4, which sometimes is enough to win the game and play around Not So Fast at the same time. So this card is super important. There is a lot to know about this card and how it pressures your opponent. And it's so important that we wanted to play cards to be able to replay it several times during the game, because it's such a cheap but big might swing. So we are playing, as I mentioned, the 12 buff spells. Basically, this is all of the buff spells that you can find in the game. There is also shield, block that gives shield, but it's shit, so you don't want to play that card, right? And then we also wanted to play 2 Fizz. Basically, Fizz is some sort of pseudo spell. Why would we not play more of Fizz? Is because Fizz only gets super good when you find the spells, and if you have the spells, most of the time you don't need the Fizz. But sometimes you have just one Feral Strength, or just one Discipline, or just something like that, and you need to dig a bit more through the deck. And having the ability to use Fizz on a Discipline or the one stack deck that you play is enough. Or sometimes you need to conquer both battlefields. This is something that feels super good to do. This is something that happened in testing. You have Irelia, they hold the battlefield, you are on 6 points, right? So this Irelia, they hold the battlefield, you are on 6 points. You can play Fizz, use Defiant, use the buffing port on Irelia to give it the buff, and use the debuff port on Fizz. And so you did choose Fizz for the card's ability. So you are able to use the Legends effect to ready Fizz. Then Fizz can conquer the empty battlefield. So you get to 7. And Irelia is buffed to conquer the full battlefield. And you get to 8 and you win the game. This is something that happens. This is something that we have thought that was good. And just basically Fizz being able to play a spell on itself, give itself value, ready itself through legend ability to conquer a battlefield is enough to make us want to play it as a decent card, and then when you need a buff to play from trash, it instantly becomes super good. So yeah, that's the plan that's the point, to play Fizz. It's basically an extra pump spell. Then once again, we want to protect the precedence, so we are playing 3 GAs and 2 Zhonyas. GA is just straight up a better Zhonya. Also, the equip keyword targets the unit to equip itself. Chooses the unit to equip itself. So it triggers Irelia, gives her the +1 the turn you equip, potentially readies her through the legend ability. So this is just straight up better. Sometimes it happened in testing also that we have Irelia and another body. We have Angel and Zhonya, and I use Singularity on them to kill them. For instance, what you can do is, if GA is attached to Irelia and you have Zhonya in base, you can resolve the Singularity, both die at the same time. You use the Zhonya to protect Irelia, so you save this. Then Merchant dies miserably because there's no Zhonya anymore, and Guardian stays equipped to Irelia. And once again, Irelia is MVP. So you don't want Irelia to die, you don't care about your turn ones dying, they are just here to cycle the deck. So yeah, I kinda wanted to have 5 of them, but obviously GA is the better one. And also these act as pseudo turn ones because these are 2 energy. And once you have Irelia, you gain points so fast. Basically, you can kinda get 2 points every turn that you are very fine with passing turn 1 to play like Angel or Zhonya and not finding a turn 1. And this is going to have some weight on updating the list in a few minutes. No Charm. We did sideboard Charm so far for certain matchups, but I don't feel like this is super useful. Maybe it will end up being though. Then for the spells lineup, we play Tide Turner is a pseudo spell. So Tide Turner is a turn 1 when you don't find one, but most of the time Tide Turner and Fight or Flight accomplish the same thing, except Fight or Flight is a bit more flexible, but it's not like that bad Tide Turner. The idea is, I have Irelia in the battlefield, they play the other one because they can't kill the Irelia because they have like 1, 2, 3 untapped roots, so they can't push through like Defiant and Guard stuff, so they just play for the other battlefields. I'm like super happy to go Tide Turner in base, bring my Irelia back to base, Tide Turner to the battlefield, so I still have the hold, and then I have a unit to use Defiant to play around not so fast also. And then I can just like push Irelia in the battlefields, conquer there, so use spells there, restand Irelia while in there. So basically it like it's up in the battlefield, you play Turner, they swap, Irelia is still up, and then you push it to the battlefield, you use a spell there to target it, and since you did target it, you are now able to restand it through the Legend's ability while attacking to get that extra +1. Also, Tide Turner gives you the ability to restand Irelia because it chooses it to swap places. So sometimes if you want to contest both battlefields, like your Irelia is in base and you want to contest both battlefields, Tide Turner is a super good way to do so. You can just like use Irelia, push the rightmost battlefield, use buffs, blah 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 in there to kill the units there. Now she's like 12 might, let's say. You just play Turner in base, swap them. Since you chose Irelia with Turner, you can just use the legend ability to untap Irelia, and then you can push the other battlefields with the might buffs that you used for the rightmost one. So this is super good, and this is basically what Fight or Flight allows you to do. It also allows you to play around like battlefield spells and stuff, potentially spells that want to kill your Irelia. You can just like Fight or Flight, so they pay the deflect, your Irelia does not die. And it also allows you to gain free battlefields in the late game. So like this is a super good card in that deck. And then we are left with a bit of consistency. Also, I forgot to talk about Ride the Wind. We play 2 Ride the Winds in the deck. This is to target Irelia, gain a bit of that extra ganking mobility if needed. So like ride in the battlefield, go in the battlefield, then ride in the other one, then go back to base, something like that. It's +2 on Irelia. It did not feel like super cracked in testing, so I guess we could swap that for something else. By the way, I need to update the stream title though. Irelia builds for set 2. Okay, great. It did not feel like super cracked, so maybe we could swap this out for something else, but it still gives value to Irelia, so I feel like I don't hate it. It could see play. Then something that we decided we are not like settled on right now, but we decided to play 3 in the early testing was Irelia Champ. Why would we play 3? Okay, so if you play 2, it makes no sense. Because then like you have 1 in the champion zone, right? And then you have 2 in, like you have only 1 in your deck. And like sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't, but it's like not consistent. If you need it, you're not guaranteed to see it. Whereas if you play the maximum amount of copy, you're not like guaranteed, but technically you give yourselves the better chances to see it, right? I feel like we could only play 1, aside from maybe certain matchups, but like most of the matchups we could only play 1. The idea was that we wanted the deck to work, like even if we make mistakes through testing, and Irelia gets killed while she should be alive because we misplayed, then we potentially have another one to like go with the flow and still try to make the deck work. So I could see this Irelia being cut to 1. In my opinion, it's either 3 or 1 of them. I could see it being cut down to 1 in the end, but for early testing and like learning interactions, not knowing what the opponent can do because we don't know all of the cards in the set, we figured we had to play 3. Maybe indeed we end up just playing 1. And then we talked about Tide Turner already. The early game, the rest of the deck is early game stability. So Merchants to cycle, Lonely Poro to draw, and Stack Deck as a one-off because we were missing 1 card in the deck. And what you want to play in this deck is buff spells, but we don't have more than this, than the 12 we play. So we play the Stack Deck to be a pseudo consistency cards. Now, let's talk about what was updated because it is about the early game. We did update 2 things in the list actually, aided the deck. The first thing that we did update was the Poro. We kind of realized that Lonely Poro did not feel good aside from being drawn in the early game, and most of the time even did not feel that good in the early game. But on the other hand, we did realize that sometimes into aggro decks, setting up that Irelia takes time, and if we don't manage to do that, we sometimes struggle to catch up with the aggro decks that manage to like get points after points, and then they could just, even if we have the deflect, they can just do something like Rebuke, they can just do something like Fight or Flight to gain that last turn to push out Irelia and then get in the battlefield and win the game. And so we needed something to deal a bit better with them aggro decks, so we decided to cut the Poro, which did not do wonders, to add 3 Ghosts in the list. And it felt super good, actually. it allowed us two things. First thing was to bounce the tide turners to use them multiple times, or the fizzes to use them multiple times, which was super good. So basically, like, you play Fizz in base, you play a like Discipline, you draw a card, you buff Irelia, you trade. Then next turn you can just like attack a battlefield with Fizz, use Ghost, bounce Fizz, replay a buff, blah 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 blah. You get me? Same for Tide Turner. And also, this was just a great tool to value the open runes in the early game to slow down aggro decks. So we decided to reduce on the turn 1 ratios of the power to play this. Also because, okay, we only have 6 turn 1s now, and one of them we don't want to play as a turn 1 Tide Turner, so we only have like 3 real turn 1s, but in fact we do have 8 of them, because we are very fine dropping Angel and Zonias on the first turn, so we do have 8 of them turn 1s. We have that consistency that we want to not be too slow in the early game, and we can use the turn 1 to set up for Irelia, either through like cycling the end through merchants, or just setting up Irelia straight up with like Angel and Zonia. So I really did like that lineup of turn 1s, and I feel like the Ghost addition was super good in the main board to deal with the aggro decks. And then I think we also did try several battlefields. I did not talk about battlefields yet. I really do like that lineup, but also we did test with the Obelisk of Power. Sorry, let me just clear my throat. Give me a second. We did test with the Obelisk of Power. All sets. Obelisk. This one, because this basically allows us in certain matchups to go first and drop Irelia on curve. So you go first with 3 runes instead of 2, sorry. And then next turn you are on 5 and you can drop Irelia. And this feels especially good into aggro matchups, weirdly enough. Because what gives them the edge is that sometimes when going first, like, you don't really want to go first. You kind of want to go second, so you can drop Irelia on curve into something like Annie. Because she does not have a way to deal with your Irelia in base most of the time. But then if you go second, you give them 2 turns to like have 3 points. And you don't want that. So going first allows you to, I play a turn 2, you play whatever, then I play Irelia. And next turn, when you start scoring points, I'm going to be smashing your units already, and this gives you a super good situation into aggro decks, weirdly enough. Like, kinda feels weird. So we did end up calling on the Targon's pick to play this. Windswept is obviously to have like that Irelia move around the board, and then Dreaming Tree is just makes sense because you have a billion buff spells, so you have to play that Dreaming Tree, right? Thank you for the follow, Leo Brian. Welcome home, brothers. Is it normal that Calm decks are this cheap rune costs? I guess Calm is just super good. Calm feels super good in set 2. Both Ornn and Irelia feel like super good decks, in my opinion. So that's about it for the list. Let me show you the updated one now, and we'll just use this to make it public. Here we go. So this is the updated list of President Irelia. Probably the better version of it. Through testing so far, it felt like the better one, though. Let me just pop it on stream. Pop it there. Here we go. Okay, great. So I feel like this is the better Irelia list from testing so far. Oh, I forgot to swap Targons, though. My bad. Let me just edit. I need to swap Targons out and Obelisk in. Obelisk, where you at? Oh, here. Updates, and let me just drop the link for you guys. Irelia lists. Here you go, and I will pin it for 20 minutes. Great. Now let's talk about the cards that we opted not to play. I will just export another image so we have the proper lists and we can talk about it. Give me a second. Here we go. Okay, great. Correct version of it though. The cards that we opted not to play. The first one, and everyone keeps bothering me with that one, so I feel like you guys must really like it, right? Is Stella Corn. Oh, kitty cat. Stella Corn. This one. You want to go out? Go out. Yeah. Thank you. She did not want to go out. So Stellar Corn is when I moved row 1. In theory, it's like not too bad because you can just like play it, then you move it once, you use a spell there, maybe you conquer, you kill something, whatever. Then you ready it through Irelia's Legend ability, then you move it back, you draw another one, you make value, right? On paper, this looks kind of decent. The thing is, one, it's kind of slow because like it's 4 energy. So sometimes you don't even have a turn to drop it because like you are going second, you are on 3 runes, so you can't drop it. Then you are on 5 runes and you kind of want to drop Irelia already if you're in a matchup in which she can't like miserably die in base, or you did manage to set up a Guardian Angel or a Zonia. So this already was a problem. This also combines with Obelisk, because then if you play the Obelisk strategy going first, you have the same curve, so like 3-5, you don't even have a turn to play Stellacorn. And also, I feel like these cards, people are being baited by these cards. Because like, to make this work, you want to use spells to ready it and draw several cards a turn. But in that list that we play, in that like that present Irelia list, basically every spell that should roll through the game, you want to use on Irelia champ, like green Irelia. So it's kind of like I'm playing Stellacorn, using spells on it to draw cards, hoping to draw spells to play them on Irelia. But why not just like play the spells on Irelia, right? If you have them, I kind of feel like you have to play it on Irelia. So that's the first thing. Also, the second thing is like, I think people forget what set 1 meta was like, and people are like, yeah, but this is going to like be able to set up and you don't need to push it straight like right away. But like, guys, this card dies to basically everything. Like, people right now are tired of playing Kai'Sa. They are tired of playing Annie and stuff. Like, they want to play new stuff. So they test against new stuff. Like just makes sense, right? People want to play new stuff. But don't think that Kai'Sa is going to be like a trash deck. It's going to see play. Don't think like red is going to become a trash color. Red spells are going to see play. And then like this is going to like get blasted by like Falling Star. This dies to Hextech Ray. This dies to Voidseeker. This dies super easily to a lot of stuff. And once again, if you want to protect it, you have to use them buffs. But them buffs you want to keep for Irelia Presidents. So I feel like this card is a bait. I might be wrong, but I think like it feels super good on paper, while in reality it's not like that good. I've played against Irelia today, and Stellacorn was their best card, but they were also playing Heart of Dark Ice, which also felt really good. I feel like both of these cards are super slow. They like Heart of Dark Ice is not like super trash, but I really do want to be in that spot in which I can move Irelia around super fast and play the fewest setup I can play, so that Irelia becomes like ready and available and can combine with spells like super easily in the mid game. And having to combine all of these cards in the early game is a weight that I don't want to deck build with, because I feel like setting up for Irelia is already more than enough to win most of the games. So Stellacorn we did not end up playing. I saw someone talk about Treasure Hunter. Let's talk about the cards that we did not play. Treasure Hunter is when I move, generate a gold gear token. At first it was in the deck. It was in the spots of Tide Turner. But we kind of found out that if you don't draw it in the super early game, it becomes a pseudo-dead draw in the mid to late game. Like, this is something that you really don't want to draw into. Whereas Tide Turner, you kind of find drawing into it in the mid to late game. It gives you extra plays, extra potential. And also, the way we built the list, we ended up realizing that we don't pay that much power. Like, if you look at the deck, the only cards that do pay power are Defiant Dance, Ride the Wind, Fizz, and GA to equip. And that's it. You never hide the Zonia, you just flat out play it. And the other cards are power free. And so, yes, there are turns, and Defy, sorry. There are turns on which you end up paying 2 to 3 power. But if you manage your resources properly, it kind of felt like the legend is power hungry, but it's super fine. it's like it just feels like super fine. So most of the time, I feel like you don't need to have them gold tokens, treasure tokens, whatever, to like use that ability. You just have to manage it properly. And yeah, this card was just not too good to draw into in the mid to late game. And my girlfriend might be flying to China in January. Seems like this deck is very affordable. Yup. This deck is like super budget. Maybe Defendance is a bit of money though, but like rest of it is like super budget, of course. And then the last card you were talking about is Boots of Ganking. My teammate, editor, however you want to play it, neither. Maybe some of you know about him. Boots of Sweetness. Currently wants to test that card. I really don't think it's good. I really don't think Boots of Sweetness is good. I feel like most of the time you can just gank all over the board anyway. Because like you have Irelia in there. You just like tap it to base, play a spell, untap it, and you can just move to the other one. We also play the ganking battlefields for like some scenarios in which you really need to gank and then go back to base and not be exposed in the battlefields. And I kind of feel like, yeah, +2 is decent, but I might as well play consistency to hit these spells that gives me like +3, +4, +5, +6 than just having a +2. This card is not trash though. He wants to test it. Maybe he's going to come back and say like, it's super good, we need to play it. But I really don't think it's like that good. And I think it's not going to see play in Irelia, or maybe it is going to at first, but not like in the optimized versions of the builds, because you just don't need it. You can just basically move through battlefields like through like 2 times a turn if you want to. Also, we have these cards, and these cards are like pseudo Boots of Ganking. Like you want to conquer both battlefields in the turn. Okay, Irelia in base pushes to the rightmost. Turner, we swap. I read it because I chose it. Pushes to the leftmost. Exact same. Irelia in base. Push into the rightmost, conquer, fight or flight, bring it back to base. I chose it, read it, push to the leftmost. So these cards, even though you don't have like permanent ganking, they give you pseudo ganking when you need it. I feel like it's enough. I feel like you don't need more. At least that's my take on Irelia. And then rune wise, it's just 7-5 split because you want to be able to defy in the early game sometimes. And that's about it. Rest of it, it could be a 6-6 split. It would be fine. We just went 7-5 because sometimes you want to be able to defy in the early to mid game. And having access to like that extra green rune makes sense. Yo, Popcorn, how you doing, brother? So that's about it for Irelia, I guess. Do you guys have any other questions? Things you would want to talk about? Then if you don't have any, let's just jump into the next legend. Oh, by the way, something that I did not talk about yet, but let's do it now. Why would we play that? I've seen online lists go like 3 purple Irelias. Why would we want to play that? Because I mean, like, this is your spells that choose me cost 1 energy or 1 paralyze, but it already costs a power on play, and then it does not get value. So if we just want to use the runes to play spells and make value out of them, we want to play a billion spells, why would we just not play this? I feel like this is just like so much better. I don't see why people would play it. It's not like trash, but it's not good neither. Noseversonger. Oh yeah, Noseversonger. We can talk about that already. I already talked about Spellsonger. I feel like Svelsonger is super bait into basically almost any green deck. Or in Ornn, I feel like it's bait. In Irelia, I feel like it's bait. It's just too slow. And once your Irelia is like swinging around the boards using spells to get might, you don't need to have like twice that amount of might. I told you before, I've had Rek'sai battlefields with like 25 plus might being single-handedly cleared by Irelia. Because like, they have Irelia in base, and they have something like GA or Zonia. Or maybe they don't even need it, but let's say they have one of these in like a mid-game scenario. I have like 25 might in Trifarian Warcamp because they have tokens and stuff there. Well, Irelia is just going to like get in there, tap itself, then they play something like Engorge and then Defiant. This grants Irelia like 12 might, something like that. Like it's crazy the difference that it makes. Because then it's like +3 of this, so it gets to... it's ready at the beginning of the turn, so it's like +1. Then they play Engward, it's like +3, so it's already +4, it's 8. And now they play Defiant. It gets +3 again through the Defiant. Then they give -2 to one of my units there, so technically it's +2, but let's just say -2 there. And then they can read it through the effect here, but we don't want to now. So this Irelia is now 11 might, just swings at my BF, clears half of my BF, Angel dies, or like Zonia dies, Irelia goes back to base tapped, and then you just use something like Discipline, and it goes to +3, or just like Tide Turner, or just like whatever, Fizz. It goes to like +3 again. Now it's something like 15 might, Legend ability, you pay power, you ready it, +1 power because you ready it, and then you just swing at my battlefield again and you clear it. So why would you need to have Spellsonger when all of these gears are better protectively and as good as Spellsonger offensively? This is my point. Thank you for the follow, Floppo. Welcome home, brother. My bad. Which decks are you planning to cover today? We did talk about Rek'Sai. Right now we're talking about Irelia. Right after that we are going to talk about Ezreal and Ornn. And then maybe if we have time, I would love to build at least a deck. Maybe Fiora, something like that. Would be what I would opt for. Thank you for the follow, Jero. Is the side just going to be counter spells to back up the main plan? I feel like we are not going to be able to talk side decks for a while, because like if we want to talk side deck, we have to consider what's being played in the format, and we have no clue what's going to see play in the format. So I don't feel like building a side deck at this point would be relevant, because then it's like, okay, I have a side deck, but I don't know what I'm playing into. So what are my win conditions? What do I want to add in side deck? This is not something that I feel like I'm ready to talk now, and I'd rather not talk about it than suggest things that end up being wrong because the format is not what I expect, right? Can you post your Rek'Sai link in here one more time? Yeah, sure. Give me a second. I can find it for you guys. My decks. What to play between Yi, Irelia, and Jax. All of these seem good. Jax seems probably a bit worse, but it's not like trash by any means. This is not what I wanted to do though. Here you go. How do you play against slower RAM decks? Well, basically you just like swing around battlefields in the early game and then you win in the late game, because what we kind of felt like was, okay, can we beat big bodies consistently? The answer is just yes. Straight up yes. If you find something like a Tide Turner and then spells, which is like normal, right? Then that, like, you just slam control decks, because you have do your early turns that could go conquer battlefield, but then in the mid to late game, Irelia goes to a battlefield, you play Turner, you move it to base, you have Turner a battlefield, you ready Irelia, you move Irelia to the other battlefield, and then he is going to play what? Dead Blue? So they can't kill both, they have to choose between Tide Turner and Irelia. If they commit into Irelia and you use something like even Engward, it becomes a trait, because like Engward makes it like +3, so it's now 7, and you can ready it so it becomes 8, so it's a trait. If you have any extra buff, they just die. So they can't really commit into it. And if they commit into the Tide Turner, next turn you just like ready Irelia +1, tap it to base, use a spell, untap it, buff it, kill the Dead Blue. So like, there's no real downsides to playing into them big RAM decks so far, in my opinion. I know it's super early, but if you had to pick a deck for a Spirit Forge event tomorrow, who would you bring? I would bring Ornn, because I really do love playing Ornn. And so far, Ornn has been one of the most consistent deck at beating Irelia in testing. So we are going to talk about Ornn right after, if you want to. I have the feeling Jax with Aurora will be a little bit better than Aurora. Maybe, yes. I don't like Aurora decks, so I've not tried any, but maybe, yes. And no, Mike, how you doing, brother? We've not done any orange deck yet. We've talked about Rek'Sai and Irelia, and right now we're going to talk about Ornn, and after that we're going to talk about Ezreal, and then maybe we are building Fiora. I would love to build Fiora, potentially. If this is possible, and if we have time to do so. So that's about it for Irelia. I felt like we talked about the deck building, the theory about it, and also the cards that we did not play. So it feels kind of complete, the game plan stuff. Yeah, kind of feels like a complete overview. Let's jump straight onto the next deck, which is Ornn. And Ornn, my friends, is like super good in my opinion. It has a few problems that we have to work around. but it feels like super good. So this is public, right? Okay, great. Now let's talk about Ornn. Is this the current updated build? Yup, it is. Perfect. Let me just create an image for you guys and get a sip of water before I die. And then we can talk about Ornn. Here, there. Great. So you can see while I drink. No seals. You really want to make me angry, Mike, huh? Why would you play seals when your legend is a straight up seal? So, this is Ornn. Let's take a look at the legend and the champion, and then this is going to give you most of the philosophy for the deck. Ornn is Kaisa, but for gears. So you can just tap the legend to add a power, and then you can use it to either equip to a unit or play a gear. Basically, that's how the legend works. So it allows you to bypass the constant power cost of re-equipping gears, which feels super good. And also it allows you to play certain cards that give you consistency that are not really playable in other decks, but are indeed playable in Ornn. And then we have this big boy Ornn, which is, in my opinion, the only chosen champion that you can play because it's like so broken. I don't see a way you don't play this. This is a 6 energy for my unit that has deflect 2, weapon master. So once again, you bypass that kind of equipping power cost. And then you have that +1 might for each friendly gear that makes it super big. So basically your entire goal in the game is set up a few gears here and there, make this Ornn something like 8-ish might, which basically is 1 gear. Like if you have a gold token, then the gear gives it +1 because of its ability or +2, and then you have +1 because of Ornn's ability, you already have an 8 might Ornn that has deflect 2, and that is impossible to deal with. So that's the plan, to really or not to run into the too much runes, too little cards problem. Yeah, I don't like seals in Ornn. I feel like you need space in the deck too, so I would not play seals myself. But this is the philosophy behind the deck. Now let's jump straight onto the list. You missed my message. What's your message, Popcorn? Can you send it again, bro? Can you send it again, please, so I can see it? Ornn is terrifying. Yeah, Ornn is really terrifying. This is probably the better champion unit in the set. Maybe Purple Ezreal is in there too. But this is probably the best champion unit in the set. I've seen a new go. I saw that. Get ripped in Riftbound, grind every day, top 4 a Summoner Skirmish with my new Jinx list, and go to the next European Regional after Bologna. I wish you luck, brother. I wish you luck. I hope you can manage to do it. Wishing you luck, and we'll be there to help you on your journey, of course. So, what I was scared about building that list is I kinda knew I wanted to go like Tower Ornn. So it means setup in the early game, and then it means dropping Ornn in the mid game, and once we are done establishing Ornn, we are in the lead. But that also means that we have a tough time into aggro, and I kinda thought at first that we would have an almost impossible time into aggro, because I felt like this deck could be super slow, but I was mistaken. I was kinda mistaken. So I decided to try the deck still and see how this would work, and I'm going to tell you why this is not like so bad into aggro and how this does fine into aggro. The gears are the first thing that we want to talk about. Porosnax is a super good gear in Ornn. It's actually only playable in Ornn. Porosnax is you pay an energy and a power, you drop me, you draw 1. These cards. You drop me, you draw 1. And then you can pay another energy and a power, kill me, draw 1. So basically this card is a draw 2 card that costs 2 energy and 2 power. But with Ornn's ability, you end up only paying the 2 energies and not the power to draw 2, which is like super good. And also, while you can drop this in the early game, use this as a setup for your cards that require gears to work, and give that +1 might to your own champion. So like this card is super great. I really love it. I think you definitely need to play it. This is just like pure card advantage, pure value. You have to play it. Then Doran Shields. Once again, super good. Several reasons to that. The first one is that it's a +2 might gear on Ornn that does not have a power cost on play. You don't pay power to pay Doran Shield, so you can just like set it up in the early game, and then when you play Ornn, you use the Weapon Master to equip it. So you don't have to pay the power cost to equip, and then you just straight up don't pay a power cost to equip this at all. And you have +2 might, and you give Ornn tank, which is often very good. Because you can use it to combine Ornn with other units to attack. I'm talking plundering Poro. If you have a Poro in there in the early game or in the mid game and you drop it next to Ornn, then you can attack with a super big tank Ornn and the Poro, and you get a free gold token, like treasure token, because they can't kill the Poro. And I'm also talking Watcher, because sometimes you want to attack into super big units, like Irelia, potentially. And having the ability to go Watcher, and then your Ornn is like 10 might on the side, and you attack with both and Irelia is 1 might, makes it so that if they want to kill Ornn, they have to reach like 11, 12 might, something like that. You make sure you get rid of Irelia, and you make sure they don't just use a single spell to trade the Watcher, and then like they let your Ornn be, and that's about it, and they just proc like GA, Zonia, whatever. So I really like that tank keyword. I feel like it's super good. It also works like those wonder on smaller stuff, like the Lonely Poro. You really want Lonely Poro to die, but sometimes having it die for free is not like super good. So you kinda want to have that Lonely Poro to be able to have that extra 1 might, so you can conquer killing your opponent's unit, and then they have to swing back and kill the Poro, and you draw 1. So it's a lot of value. And there's also another thing, but maybe it will change if we do end up swapping battlefields. I play Sunk on Tempo, and Sunk on Tempo is when you conquer here with a unit that is mighty, so that is 5 might or more, you can pay an energy to draw a quart. And it often happened in testing that I would be playing Drop Border in the mid game, equipping it with Doran Shield, so it gets to 5 might, and then conquer Tempo and draw a free quart. Because Border is, when you play me, if you control 2 or more gears, ready me. And so if you have something like Doran available on the board, and then let's say you dropped a Poro Snacks, or you generated a treasure token through the Poro or through the Court Sharp in the previous turn, then if you're on Tempo, you can just go like Border, ready me, tap the legend to not pay the power, equip the Doran Shield, rush into Sunken, pay an energy, draw a free card, and then they have to deal with the Border, and then the shield comes back to base. So it's like pretty good, pretty good. Really did like Doran in testing. Did not like, we were going to talk about the gears that I don't want to play then, but I did not like the other 1-drop gears aside from Snacks and Doran, so I decided to only play these 2. Then Angel, I don't need to explain why I play 3 Angels. Ornn with a Guardian Angel is almost game over. Like there's not much they can do when your Ornn is like 8, 9, 10 might, deflect 2, and as Guardian Angel. Like it's completely cracked. They don't have an out basically. And then the other gears that I do play, and these I'm wondering, of course Irelia, signature gear, for those who don't know. Ornn had 3 signature gears. I only play one of them. Irelia is like correct. You have to play Irelia. Irelia, here. This is like super correct. So this is, when you play this, ready your units. So this already is like super good. You can have pseudo like accelerates and stuff through this, and also your units here have ganking, and like this is correct. Sometimes you need to get back in the game because you're playing a bit slow in the early game to drop Ornn, and you just have Ornn up in base and like 8 runes because you never pay a power, and then you just like tap Ornn, go to battlefields, kill whatever is in there, and they're like, okay, but I will hold with the other one, it's fine, no matter. And then you just go Irelia, ready Ornn, equip Irelia to Ornn, give it ganking, move to the other battlefield, clear everything. And that single-handedly wins you games. Also works on Fox. Like, it's just such a good call overall. You have to play it. If you could play 3 of these, I would probably play at least 2, maybe 3 of these. And then the other equip that I'm playing is Sterak. So Sterak is 3 energy and 2 power, but since you play Ornn Legend, you only pay 1 power, not 2. And it has quick draw, so you don't need to pay the cost to equip it. So basically it's like 3 energy and a power plus 3, And if it's on Ornn, it's +4 because you play gear and you give it the +1 might. So I feel like this is super good because this is a combat trick that is like specific to that deck. You are the one abusing it, and it does not get defied. It does not get not so fast. So I like it. I'm considering playing 3. The only thing is I don't want to find it too early in the game. I'd rather draw it in the mid game. But once it's set up though, like playing several of these sometimes is tough because they are kind of expensive. But at the same time, once it's set up, every turn you can just like pay Ornn's ability to equip it and give +3 to a unit. And that is like super strong. So I feel like I kind of want to play 3. I'm not settled yet on what to cut to play 3 because I love all of the cards in this deck. But maybe at some point I will be playing 3 Sterak Gauge though. Then earlier, so the gears we're done with. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. I'm going to talk about the gears I don't want to play later on, so you guys can like, if you have questions, feel free to ask them now, and I will talk about them later on. Then regarding units, we want the turn ones to be as stable as possible, so we are playing 8 of them as per usual, but all of them are actually super good. Plundering gives us a, so this card, when it conquers, it gives us a gold gear token. And that is super good because gold gear token is a gear. So it gives +1 to Ornn while it's there. It allows you to pay for your defies, for your not so fast, for even your fox, so that even the small amounts of runes, yo Ida, how you doing, brother? Even the small amount of power cost that you would have to pay, you don't pay because you pay with gold gear tokens instead. And also it allows for you to set up, like it allows you to set up them early gears that you need to enable Ornn, to enable drop border, which are cards that you need to have gears on the board for them to work. And sometimes you're not drawing into so much of them. So having the ability to generate 1 extra gear is pretty good. And that's pretty much the same reasoning for Card Sharp. Card Sharp is you get a gold token, then your opponent can get 1, but if they get 1, you get another 1. So if they give you 2, it's like complete crack. You have +2 on Ornn, you have drop border ready like in a minute. So they're never going to do that. They're just going to give you 1 and then don't get 1 themselves. The card is not so bad. It's like fine. Might wise, and it has a like quote unquote negative power cost. This one you have to conquer with, so we can't really call it a negative power cost because if you don't conquer, you don't get the gold, and it just becomes a 2 energy 2 might unit, right? But this one is on play. So basically, this card is a 3 energy -1 power card because you for sure generate a power when you play it, and that is completely cracked. So I think we really need to play Card Sharp. I really do think gold tokens are the way to stabilize these builds. Maybe we even want to play more of these. I'm going to get into that a bit like later on. And then we are just playing good green and blue cards. We are playing the Fox because it's super good in the late game. Also, it gives us a side win when Ornn dies because like it happens. The idea is not that Ornn can never die, but rather that if Ornn dies, they had to pay so much deflect and resources and use so many cards in hand to do it that the rest of your deck can win on its own. That's basically the idea. And like these cards are completely capable of doing that. Like if you have a Sterak setup or something like, nope, I did not theorize Jax yet, Xentran, sorry brother. If you have Sterak on the board, just drop border is a 7 might accelerate for 4 energy because you don't pay the equip cost because of this guy. Fox is a 10 might accelerate because you don't pay the equip cost because of this guy. So like these cards are more than capable of closing the game. You just need to like make them pay a lot to deal with Ornn, and then you close the game with the rest of the list. And sometimes Ornn just closes it by itself because it's just too big. And then we have like, yeah, as I said before, like good green and blue cards. We have the 3 defies. These are broken. Discipline, I'm not certain I want to play. The idea is that it gives me a bit of value to the runes I keep open to play Sterak and stuff. And also it gives us a draw, so it kind of cycles the deck. So I kind of like that. It's just a good green staple. If they play Dreaming Tree, it comes in useful. Do I want to play it and never cut it? Not so sure, but it's kind of good. Not so fast. I feel like you have to play this in Ornn because it not like this card reads counter a spell that targets your units or your gears. And depending on how much gear 8 we see in main decks, protecting your gears could become somewhat important. Like protecting your Guardian Angel against something like Sabotage could be pretty good. And it also counters a lot of good spells in the format. It counters Irelia's signature. It counters yellow cards that could deal with your own for a cheap amount of runes. Like Hidden Blade. It counters Charm that could force your own to crash. It counters a lot of the good stuff they want to do to deal with Ornn. And I feel like if they pay Deflect 2, then you Not So Fast, that game is over, right? So I kind of like Not So Fast. I don't think it's main deckable in every deck, but since you also have to protect your gears, I kind of feel like Not So Fast could be a main deckable card in Ornn. And also we did not talk about like these guys, but these are just like turn 1 ratios plus draw power basically. If you see Clockwork or Lonely in the mid game, late game, you just drop it, draw and play with Clockwork, or crash Lonely to draw and like cycle the deck. And if you see these in the early game, these are the early points that you need to contest aggro. So we have straight up like busted mid game because of this. We have good early game units because of this. So we don't lose too much to aggro. We have Defy and Not So Fast in the deck. So we beat cards like Fight or Flight. We beat cards like Rebuke because of Not So Fast. We beat a lot of them aggro tools that are going to be prevalent, I think, in set 2. And we have a lot of consistency because we have draw power there, we have draw power there, we have draw power in the battlefields too, and we just like have draw power there, and we just like don't pay so many runes, so we can basically play whatever we draw anyway. Last but not least, the charms. More than often come in handy to crash people into your own. Would Singularity be a better card? Maybe. I would have to consider playing like, maybe it's Singularity, maybe it's a third Sterak and then another gear. Could be a lot of stuff, but like they come in handy and also they surprise your opponent because like they have to set up to deal with Ornn. Most of the time they can't like deal with Ornn in like a single turn, and then if they set up, you punish them with Charm. So feels kinda good to run them Charms. I'm going to talk about the cards that I don't play right after, guys. So don't worry, I'm not reading you. I just want to not get all over the place. So I'm going to finish talking about the list, and then we are going to talk about the cards that we don't play, right? Then battlefield-wise, I feel like these two you have to play. Forgotten Monuments. Yo, Tug, how you doing, brother? Nice to have you on stream. Forgotten Monuments. I mean, why would you not play Forgotten Monument? This is just like a super broken card. This card reads, both players can't score here until their third turn. It's super good into aggro. It basically kills them aggro decks, in my opinion. It gives you the time you need to set up. And as I mentioned before, something that I considered is that we could potentially struggle into aggro with Ornn. But then this kind of makes up for it. Because then game 1, we drop Forgotten Monuments on boards. And we have a very decent matchup into aggro all of a sudden because of that single battlefield. And then sideboards, we could bring in cards that deal with aggro. We could bring in, what's the name of the spell? No, not that one. Blue something. It's cracked. Wages. Yeah, Wages. Deal 3 to a unit, play a gold gear token exhausted as an action. So we could bring them from the sideboard to deal with like them potential turn ones to prevent them from scoring points, to deal with them sneaky deck ends to prevent them from scoring points. Then we could like swap out the charms that are kind of low because they already scored to play like better cards. In like, I just feel like we have the ability to sideboard such great cards into aggro that being able to play Monument game 1 is like correct. And also we are never trying to go like super duper giga fast. So I feel like in basically any deck we are happy to be under Monuments, in my opinion. So I really do like the battlefield. I think it has to be in the lineup. I think it went a bit under the radar when the spoilers were released, but I just feel like it's going to see played so correct. Then we have Ornn's Forge. This is my going first battlefield. This allows you to pay 1 energy less for the first gear that you play every turn. So basically you can play 3 Poro Snacks because you don't pay the power because of Ornn and you don't pay the energy because of the battlefield. You can play 3 Run Shield, you can play 1 energy Angel, you can play 3 energy Requiems, and also during your opponent's turn you can play 2 energy Steraks, which is super good. So like overall I just think like this battlefield is a good one. We could also potentially play Grove, But then if we miss on that early game, it could be tough. Whereas Ornn, most decks are not getting so much benefit out of it, I feel like. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to say I appreciate you taking the time to explain this thought process like this. Very helpful. Thank you, Bogley. Thank you, brother. This list is public. It's not yet, but we are going to make it public. Don't worry. I'm going to share it right now. I also noticed a hidden package with the deal 3 console zonias. Yeah, something like an anti-aggro package is definitely viable in the sideboards. And then third battlefield I'm playing is Senko Temple. I feel like this one could be debated. I don't think like we have to play Senko. It just felt good in testing because once again, Doran plus drop border is 5 might. Thank you for the follow, Yuyi. The border plus Doran is 5 might, so it's free draw. Ornn is always free draw. Watcher is almost always free draw. We have a lot of tools to proc it, so it's a lot of value on our side of the boards. It's also somewhat value on the opponent's side of the board. Like playing into Irelia, they do draw like once or twice through the game. But like it's not that bad because like even if they have cards in hand, in the end doesn't matter how many cards you have. What can you do to Ornn, right? Like okay, draw 2 spells out of Senko Temple and now use them. Recycle 4. Like that's about it, right? I don't mind them having many cards. I feel like because I just don't like 1 or 2 extra cards. I don't fear them because the question is not do you have enough cards to deal with Ornn? Is can your deck deal with it without paying a billion runes? And most of the time the answer is no. So I feel like we could play Senkon, but there are other battlefields that we could play. We could play the ganking one to like get back in them games faster. We could play the obelisk, sorry, to like be able to play a bit with a bit better curve. We could like decide to go second and then like have 4 runes to play like gear turn 1, like Poro Angel, and then next turn we could play Ornn. There are several options that we could explore, but I feel like Sunken is a decent default one, in my opinion. Did you try Seals? No, I'm not playing Seals in Ornn. Why would I play Seals though? Like, I never pay a power until the very late game. Like, this I don't pay. This I only pay 1. This I only pay 1. This I pay, but it's late game. This I don't pay. So, like, what I have to pay is this. I don't want to use this in the very early game. This, I kind of don't want to use this in the very early game neither. And this, which is a late game card. And that's about it. And all of these cards, like, I can pay with treasure tokens. So why would I play Seals? In my opinion, we just don't want to. Like, your legend is literal seal. Like, why would you have, like, several seals that you have to draw when you can have one in your legend zone? So I really do like that list. Thank you for the fellows. Thank you, Mr. La. Welcome home, brother. What if you just go slow, play Aspirants, and the one where you... Yeah, you could potentially play Aspirants too. Yeah. But I feel like the deck is not as slow as I expected it to be. So I would not play it as a Nora deck. As in, like, I have to reach late game to win. Obviously, you are super duper strong in the late game. But, like, drop borders and stuff are so good in the mid game that the deck is not, like, crazy slow. Like, you can still have answers in the early game. So that's the build for the deck so far. As I mentioned... I could see myself playing a third Sterak because I really do like it. And I could see myself swapping out the last Charm to play something like Brutalizer. Seals are not 3+1. You play a card from your end, you give up 3 slots of your main deck to it. Like, these are not 3+1. These are super expensive. And also, mathematically, Seals are pretty bad cards. I've already explained it like a ton on the channel, so I'm not going to ramble about it once again, but like, they are pretty bad cards. Go second with this? Nah, go first. Go straight up first. Do you think 2 or 3 green seals could stabilize early Skater and Quartermaster with Poro Snack? Nah. We really don't want to play seals. We really don't want to play seals. Quartermaster, I could see it, but then if you don't see a gear in the early game, it's not like super good. If you don't see specifically Poro Snacks. And if you see another gear like Doran, Quartermaster is a... So let's talk about the cards that we don't want to play, right? Seals we don't want to. For sure. Quartermaster is a 3 energy 4 might unit that reads as an additional cost to play me, return a friendly gear. So if you don't see specifically Poro Snacks, basically what this means is you pay the run shields, you bounce it to play Quartermaster, then you play it again. So you have to pay that energy, that extra energy to replay the shield, which makes Quartermaster a 4 energy 4 might unit, which is like not giga good in my opinion. And then if you see snack, it's good, but like it's kind of eye roll, right? If you don't see snack, it's not so good. So I would not see that seeing play. I really do prefer Court Sharp, which is a free gear that enables the rest of the deck to work properly, gives +1 to Ornn and stuff. Some people were talking about Svelsonger. We talked about Svelsonger already. I don't like the Court. I think it's bait. It's way too much setup, way too expensive. Even Ornn does not manage to get enough value because most of the time they can't deal with your Ornn anyway. So why would you give it like 5 extra might through Svelsonger or whatever? Just drop Guardian Angel. It's like I would even play Zonias over Svelsonger. I just feel like this is such a bad court. What other courts did you talk about, guys? Tog said you gotta play Monument as going first field and take it on your turn 2 for it to do anything, Bossman. What do you mean, brother? Because like you get in there and then on their third turn, they can't score the points. I feel like this is a decent game on Battlefield there. Because like, let's say you go first. You 2, you can't score. Day 2, they can't score. You 4, you can't score. Day 4, they can't score. You 6, you drop Ornn. They can score, they get to 2 points. What do they do, right? Like next turn you can swing with Ornn. Like cool, be any. Cool. You have 2 points. Nice. Get your 2 points. And then if you're going second, it's right about the same, right? Like you can just like maybe they have like 3-4 points, but I don't think like it's super pressuring when you can play stuff like Drop Border to trade them, when you can play stuff like Fox to trade them already. Just when they get to the 3-4 point mark, I just feel like Monument is a better trial. I might be wrong, but I just feel like Monument is a better trial. Maybe we could play trial if you think Monument is that much better. Take the other field so they can't trade fields with you. Yeah, I see that. I could see that. Okay, I could see that. Makes sense. But I still feel like it's a decent game 1 Battlefield into aggro if you struggle into aggro. And then you can potentially adapt the build a little to make it better in that sense. Regarding cards that I did not play, I did not play Brutalizer, but I might want to consider it. The only thing is, I don't want to see a billion Brutalizer. I only really want to see one and move it around the board. And also, this is a card that I don't want to equip to Ornn, because Ornn is just going to have it and keep it. So I kind of want to have it roaming around the boards on units, on like drop borders, on like turn ones, on like foxes, which are going to die. It's going to recycle, and then I can give another +3 mites. So I kind of figured that it would be a bit much setup to enable this, but I don't think like it's terrible. Maybe I could just play a one-off as a gear, an additional gear in the deck. And if we just want to talk gears as a whole, this is... Why would you play this when you can play gears that give permanent mites? Like, I'd rather play the third Sterak, which is the exact same cost than this. Basically, that's the first thing. Brutalizer, we talked about it already. Doran, we are playing 3 copies of it. Maybe I want to play third Sterak Gauge. Oh, this is shit. Don't play this. This is good, but maybe there's a potential spell approach with Ornn that I did not try. But something like Singularity, then the thing that does 3 damage and... and generates a gold token, then Discipline, Engwards, stuff like that. And then Rabadon to deal extra damages, because Rabadon is one of the Ornn signatures that says whenever you deal damage through a spell, it deals 3 extra ability damage. So, I mean, there's potentially a build there, but I've not tried it, so I'm not playing the cask. I only have Discipline as a spell right now. Class is shit. What you need to do as Ornn is not like defend. It's get back in the game. Because once you're back in the game, you just win the game. Like, Ornn does not struggle to defend positions. It's actually super good at doing so. What you need to do is not get overwhelmed in the early game and be able to get back. And Class does not help you doing that. Because Shield 2 is only good when you're defending. So I'm not playing that card. I just feel like that card is shit, in my opinion. Maybe it ends up seeing play, but if it does, I feel like it's more as a 1-2 off to make up for the number of gears in the early game, rather than as an actual good gear. And I just feel like Doran Shield is so much better of a 1-drop gear. Thank you for the follow, Lars. Welcome, brother. So Wages, I told you that we could play. I could definitely see this thing play. And then I believe... Oh, Word Atlas is the same. Exact same thing as... Like, this is too expensive. Could see play, but good effect, but too expensive. This is the exact same thing as Cloth. It's like... You don't struggle to hold once you're in the game, you struggle to get back in the game. And this is when I hold. So then, like, if you're back in the game, if you're in a spot in which you are guaranteed to hold, you are winning that game. So why would you want to play 2 gold gear exhausted by holding? If this was when I conquer, we would have a completely different talk and it would be completely busted. But in this deck, like, I feel like all of these gears are so much more proactive than this trash thing that I'm not playing this, in my opinion. So that's about it for the course that I don't want to play, I guess. Maybe we could cut Charms and play something else, but I feel like this is a very good starting point for a Ornn list in the upcoming format. And I was scared about Ornn. How do I phrase this? I was scared about Ornn being too slow and struggling into aggro decks. And since I believe purple is going to be super strong in set 2, I was scared of Ornn not being top tier because of that. But after testing for a while, I really do believe that Ornn can do well into aggro decks if taking properly. And then this was the only obstacle that I saw. So I really do believe Ornn is going to be a super, super strong deck. Like really up there in terms of decks. I think the legend ability is a slightly bit worse than Cases, but the color combination is just that much better that I feel like I could see Ornn dominating the format for sure. Like being one of them top 5 decks for sure. No doubt about it. It has the potential to be in there. Maybe Blitzcrank? Maybe, but I feel like if I want to play Blitzcrank, I'm just playing Shorm instead because it's just a better overall chord in my opinion. So, like, it plays better from behind, which Ornn does a lot of the time. So, if I want to play a Shorm chord, it's probably just Shorm and not Blitzcrank. This list is private though. Let me make it public, so you guys can see it. Copy the link. Here you guys go. Ornn lists. Pin there. Any Seaver believers? I think Seaver is going to be decent. I don't think it's going to be super good. But I do like the color combination with the effect it has. I feel like it allows you to play so many powerful cards. Punch First, Mind Splitter, Dead Bloom, Rebuke, blah blah blah. I just think it's going to be a great legend to play. Feels good. Anti-gear will be important for sure. For sure, definitely. We could cite something. Like, there is good anti-gear in green, fortunately. 2 great units. Did you see Seaver reanimators going around? Nope. I did not look so much at other lists, but I could definitely see a Seaver reanimator list making its way to the top. Red and yellow will be better. Red and yellow don't have the better... Yellow does have the better one, but red... I mean, Thermal Beam makes sense, but then if Thermal Beam is seeing play, we are just going to see Windwolf, and then you are going to pass your turn doing nothing, so... I feel like the better gear removers are green and yellow. Because Salvage is super good, like Kill a Gear Draw 1 is super good, super flexible, definitely main deckable cards. And green has access to 2 units that do clear gears. So most likely top gear decks are going to be green decks. I'm talking Jax, I'm talking Ornn. These are the decks that want to play a lot of gears. And these decks have access to Defy, Not So Fast, blah 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 blah. And units kinda bypass those cards. So yeah, I feel like for flexibility I'd say yellow, and for just overall removing I'd say green. And then yes, Thermal Beam is good, but like if it's good, green decks are going to play, like if it's in play, green decks are going to play Windwall, and then you are just going to not be able to activate the Thermal Beam. Have you tasted Irelia? I did test Irelia. I did talk about Irelia right before Cloister. I can share the list if you want to. If you want me to. Orange has Sabotage and that's so. Yeah. Blue does not have a gear removal, I believe. Neither. I can share the list if you want to, Cloister. And if you want to have the full explanation on me talking about like Irelia, you can just go back to the vote. It's free. You don't have to be a sub or whatever. And you can just check the vote. And I'm talking Irelia and my thoughts and my game plan and how I approach certain matchups and the lists. So basically you have everything you need. It's going to be on YouTube though. It's going to be on, let me just drop this. If you guys want to see edited content, it's going to be on YouTube. We do have a gameplay channel too, and we do have a VOD channel. VOD is going to be up there tomorrow morning, I believe, on YouTube. And edited videos, hopefully by the end of the week, they make it to YouTube. I hope so. I hope I'm going to be able to make it there. I do have some stuff planned though. I have to go to Paris. So about like right hour, something like 2.5 travel hours of travel to get to Paris for a talk show. So not sure I'm going to be able to edit them prior to that, but I hope I can. Irelia seems most fun to me. Yeah, Irelia seems good. And then the last legend that I want to talk about that I did try to play is Ezreal. This is also the last because I don't think this list is good enough to make it to the top tiers. Which is why I decided to talk about Ezreal last. Let me just update the thing there. Ezreal builds. Okay, great. Reaction to Sabotage. Yes, Sabotage is cracked. I literally lost my skirmish to double Sabotage this weekend. But yeah, that's about it. So, my thing with Ezreal is like, this deck feels super rewarding to play, feels super good to play, and in some games you feel like you are in total control and you can't lose, which I really do love. Like, it felt super good at first, and then I started testing into deflect matchups, and that's when it became tough, and I don't see a way. Like, I think if you want to play this deck and value it the best it could be valued, you have to play a lot of targeting, like, regardless, because of the legend ability and stuff. And so if you do that, you are anyway losing it to deflect, and if you want to make a build that does not lose into deflect, you probably might as well play Teemo. So I just think Ezreal is going to be mid so far because of that. Does not mean it's going to be like bad. The deck feels super good in a lot of matchups. I'm going to give you like explanations on it too. But I don't think Ezreal is going to be like super giga cracked because deflect exists, and because I do believe that both Ornn and Irelia are going to be strong decks in the format, and both of them have MVP deflect cards. So if you can't kill them efficiently, you are most likely losing that game, and Ezreal struggles to do that. Let me just export the image and get a sip of water, and let's start with that Ezreal talk. Here, there. Give me a second. So for those of you who don't know, let's start with the legend and the champion, Ezreal. The Ezreal legend reads, reaction tap me, draw 1 if you've chosen units or gears on the opponent's board twice this turn. So this means that either you use a spell that allows you to target twice, or you use 2 spells. But if you do that, you are able to draw once a turn, be it during your turn or your opponent's turn. Like, this is super good, obviously. And then the champion is a 3/3 energy 1 power cost unit that reads, when you play me, discard 1, draw 2. So good cycling power, we love that. Very purple cards. And then optional additional costs you pay cost 1 energy or 1 power less. So what this does mean is that repeats and accelerates basically cost you either 1 less energy or 1 less power. Which is pretty good in the deck. At first, I thought this could counter DeFi because you have the option to not pay, deflect, my bad. Deflect, because you have the option to not pay deflect and cancel your course. But I did ask a judge friend, and deflect creates a mandatory cost that you have to pay, and it's not optional in that sense. So you can't pay for deflect through this, which would have been like super good. Unfortunately, it does not work. Would have given the deck a shot to be a top tier deck, but does not work. And so the idea is that we want to have a lot of targeting tools. We want to have a lot of like small interactions that when combined together become super strong, because they allow us to not only deal with opponents' cards, but also to draw cards and dig through the deck. And that's how I built this list, through interactions and also using that second effect of the Ezreal to get value on the accelerates and the repeats. So the interactions basically are one of 2 types. Type 1 is removal, like straight up removal, either damage or bounce. And type 2 is might reducers. And both of them combined end up giving you like super good interactions in which like they have something like a 6 might unit, and you just go like frigid touch, and it becomes like a you repeat or something, and then you have it, so you only pay 3. It becomes a like 2 might unit, and then you just ghost it to the end and it dies. That's the point of the list. At least that was the idea behind it. So we play removals in ghosts. Super good. You bounce a unit that has 3 might or less, allows you to bounce your own units, allows you to bounce like Poro, to bounce like Windsinger, to bounce like Court Short, to play it again, generate another gold token. So this is like pretty good. And also allows you to bounce big units because of Frigid Touch and Smokescreen. Both of these are -4 might. So if they have a 7 might unit, let's say a Fox, a Darius, whatever you want, you can just go Smokescreen, and if they go Cleave, you can chain Ghost. Like they attack with 7 might Darius, you have 3 runes open, they attack with 7 might Darius, you go Smokescreen, Darius goes to 3. Reaction, they use Cleave to push over the unit that you have there. You go Ghost, you bounce Darius to end. Like this is how good these cards are when paired together. And then this gives you like, you'd use targeting twice. Once because of Smokescreen, once because of Ghost. So you can tap Legend and draw 1. So this was the idea behind like this combination of cards. Windsinger is a pseudo Ghost because this does exactly what Ghost does, being bounce a 3 might or less unit at a battlefield to hands, and this can be hidden. So it kind of works as Ghost in the mid to late game, and it also works as a turn 1 in the early game. That's super efficient into a lot of decks because like they push with like Poro something as Yi in the battlefield, and you just play Windsinger, and if they have a buff, they dodge the bounce. If they don't, you bounce the Poro, they have to play it again, then push again. And if they have buff, you did not waste a card, just as you would have with Ghost, because you still have the body on board. So like, they had to use the card for basically nothing, and then your Windsinger is still there. So I really like that card. I feel like both these cards are important. And then we also have Wages as a removal, which is deal 3 damage. And so once again, we are in that like 3 might range that's paired with the -4s there. Can kill a lot, can kill Fox, can kill Darius, can kill just like straight up a lot of units. And also generates a gold gear treasure token. And that's pretty good for us because we have a lot of power costs, especially in the late game. And so we have to be able to pay these power costs, and having gold gears is pretty good in that scenarios. So these are the removals. This. Then we also have the Singularity, which is deal 6 to each to 2 units basically. So this triggers Ezreal instantly because you target 2 units. So you can like just Singularity in this deck is like pay 6, recycle 2, kill 2 units, draw 1. So it instantly becomes a super good card, of course. And then we have the Signature 2, which is deal 3 to a unit as an action, and then you banish a friendly unit and you bring it back instantly. And this has a lot of usage, but the thing that I want to talk right now is the 3 damage thing. So we have like 3 damage, bounce 3, bounce 3. So basically with the reductions, we are able to kill anything that's in the 3 might or less range, and that does wonder in the mid game. We are able to consistently control the opponent's boards. Then might reducers. We talked about Frigid Touch already. -2, repeat 2, -2 again. So it's basically a worse Smokescreen, but without a power cost. And if you use the repeat, you can target twice, so you can draw instantly. Because if they have like 2 units, or if you choose twice the same unit. And also, if you have that Ezreal on board, you only pay the second repeat 1 energy instead of 2. So this becomes a 3 might, but no power cost, -4. Which is kind of better than 2 energy and a power cost. Because like you'd rather play 3 energy than 2 energy and a power. So 3 Frigid Touches, and also sometimes activating it for 2 in the mid game is enough. And 2 Smokescreens for that might reduction. Paired with Stupefy. Stupefy is like, I target, I draw 1, reduce the might, and then if I target again, I draw 1 again. So basically you just like constantly cycle your deck with the Stupefy. So this is reduction to this, and this. And of course we have the Fox that acts not only as a finisher but also as a reduction tool. And since we manage not to pay too much power in the mid game, we often can go Fox Gust or Fox Wingsinger or even Fox Wages or Fox Shift. And this is kind of cool, right? Like they have both battlefields. You play Fox, you trade one, and then you play something like Gust or Wages and you kill the other one. And then you kind of dealt with everything that's on the board. So all of these reductions paired with all of these control cards feel kind of good. Thanks for the follow, Grotos. Hope you're doing great, brother. My friend Grotos, big judge of the French community. The guy that I ask to when I need rulings. And then the rest of it is 2 boxes, I would say. Let's talk about Code Shot first, because like this is straight up like busted in Ezreal. This is like you drop the Ezreal there, then you just like pay the first power of Code Shot, and Code Shot is look at the top 2 cards of your deck, you pick one, you add it to the hand, and then you repeat, pay another power, you pick one, you add it to the end once again. So what this does when you have purple Ezreal on board is use Code Shot, pay with a gold gear, either of like this or this, so you don't pay the first power, then repeat, you don't pay the second power because of Ezreal, so you look at the 4 cards of the top deck and you pick 2 of them. And this is completely cracked, like this is so much card advantage, gives you the tools you need. Like if you have too much removal, you get the might reducers through Code Shot. If you have too much might reducers, you get the removal. And also something that's pretty good is that sometimes in the end game, you need that finisher, you need that Mundo, you need that Watcher, you need that Singularity to clear the game, but you don't have like a billion runes. Well, what you can do is tap everything, go into floating, then use Code Shot. You only pay the power, but you still have the energy, right? So if you top deck the Watcher, even if you are down onto like 7 runes, it's fine because you still have the energy. So you just drop the Fox, and then you push in there, and you just kill them. Like you close the game. Code Shot feels super good in this deck. Pulling 2 ults, 1 epic in 4 boosters. My man had a night of them nights though. Congrats, Toast. Well deserved. So this is just consistency. This we talked about already. Turn 1 lineup is we want 8 of them. We want them to be as good as possible. Random Bloom is like super good because we have so many small spells. Windsinger is a control core that also allows us to have a turn 1 if we need to. And then Poro is here to make up for the numbers. And if we are able to generate at least 1 or 2 gold gears, we are happy with that. Someone mentioned that I should probably play the purple thingy that has 1 might, and when I move, get a treasure token. I like the Poro because of the might reducers. Because if they try to trade in the mid game, in a tough spot for them, like being full tapped and I know Poro is going to be able to hold and generate a lot of value, I'd rather have a Poro that's 2 might. Because then if they attack with something that's like 3, 4 might, 5 might even, if I use Frigid or Smokescreen, it goes down to 1 and my Poro does not die. Whereas if I use the thing that moves and has 1 might, when I move I generate a treasure token as 1 might. Even if I use might reducers, it dies. And so it does not give me that opportunity to value them cards, so I'd rather have the Poro. Even though it's a bit slower or conditional, I still think I want to have that extra might. It's kind of important in some scenarios. Also, if you trade in another turn 1 that gives value to like Stupefies and stuff. Then Court Sharp is just a very good mid-game unit that allows you to have a good target for Arcane Shift. Because you can just like play Sharp, then next turn you have the treasure token of Sharp. You want to play Shift, you can just like push in the battlefield, score with Sharp, then you crack your treasure token to play Shift, deal 3 damage, kill the other unit, replay Sharp, re-get your treasure token. So you just get value off of it. This makes a lot of sense. Like this card is super good. Also, obviously, the ideal replay of Shift is that Ezreal, because then it allows you to discard 1, draw 2 again, so you make a lot of card advantage of the Shift. But you need to have several targets, and Sharp is a good one, on top of being a completely cracked card, cost-wise versus power-wise. Fight or Flight is just a good way to target opponent's cards or my cards to protect them, but most likely opponent cards, and to deal with some big top-end bodies like Fox, Yee's bodies, and stuff. So yeah, Fight or Flight is just a pretty good overall purple card. Maybe you could play Rebuke, but I feel like we already have a lot of power costs, so we need to pay something that's a bit cheaper. Maybe a bit worse, but overall a bit cheaper. Ride the Wind is to be able to be either we want to be aggressive in some like matchups, because like they play control like Yi, let's say. Once Yi gets to like Dead Bloom and a few runes to go with it to protect it from the Fox, you can't win the game. So you have to be a tiny bit aggressive in that scenario. And having access to Ride the Wind to like move your Poro around, move your Sharp around, and just like score them early points and pressure them a bit feels kind of good. And also, when you can combine it with the Fox, it gives you access to like super huge cleanups. As in like Fox accelerated, push there, Ride the Wind to the other battlefield, clear there, just gives you a lot. The Mundo is there just for eye rolling kind of opportunities. Cold Shot allows you to dig a lot in the late game, you draw a lot, so even one Mundo, you are going to see a lot of them games. And then you just want to like, you cycle with this, you cycle with this, you draw with this, you cycle with this. Like there are just a lot of tools that allow you to dig through the deck. So that Mundo is going to be super stacked, and like sometimes it's just your best way of closing out the game. Like I did play into Ornn at some point, into Yi or whatever, like I don't remember, like a slow deck. And I was like, okay, to win, I just need Mundo. I have 10 runes. I'm on like 7 points, I believe. I can't push to 7 points. I have 6 points and a unit in base. And so I'm like, if I get Mundo, I have like billion cards in trash, I win. So I just went, tap all of my runes. I believe it was 10 runes. Tap all of my runes. Cold Shot, repeat, does not pay the power because of Ezreal. He was on board. Yeah, Ezreal was the unit I could conquer with there. Dig 4, don't find the Mundo, but end up finding another Cold Shot. So reuse Cold Shot, pay a power, don't pay the second one because of Ezreal. Dig 4, find the Mundo, grab the Mundo. I still have 10 energy open because this is 0 energy. Push with the Ezreal. And then I believe it was just drop the Mundo. No, push with the Ezreal. Use the smoke screen because I have 10 energy. So use the smoke screen to kill what's in there. Get to 7. And then drop the Mundo because I have 8 energy left. And after that turn, like I recycled 2 of the Cold Shots. I recycled 1 of the smoke screen. I recycled 2 of the Mundo. So I was down to like 5 runes. But my Mundo was like 30 might or 25 might. And that game was over. And like I was okay. I only have like 1 Mundo in my deck. But I need to find it. And if I can find it, I win that game. And like that decision was rewarded while having only 1. So I don't think you want to play more. But I still think you cycle enough to make it like give it a lot of value. And then you have cool interaction. I think I've talked about every single card in the list aside from battlefields. So we are getting to battlefields later on. But you have cool interactions with shifts. This card 1 draw 2 gives you a lot of value. You can also use it on Fox if you have a lot of runes in late game. You can just go like Fox, Accelerate, Push, Arcane, Banish Fox, replay it, repay Accelerate. But since you have Ezreal, you cannot pay the power of accelerating. And then push with the other Fox in the other battlefield. Like there are a lot of cool interactions with this. And this is once again a 3 damage remover, just as like this, and this. So kind of like all of these cards. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the cards that I don't play right after Grottos. Don't worry. I'm not reading you guys. But what I do is talk about the list. And then you guys can ask questions. And we talk about like what I don't want to play. Your lists are so good. Way better than what I brewed up. Don't worry. I spent enough times doing this, like deck building stuff, to not be proud about making good lists, because if I was making bad lists, I would have wasted like 5 years of my life. So I mean, like, it's kind of normal, quote unquote. It's just like, I just have a lot of experience, and once you get to that point, you are going to be able to build like good lists too. I hope so. But once again, that Ezreal list, I feel like is kind of good. Like, it feels super rewarding when you play it. But when you're into Deflect, it feels almost unplayable. Thank you for the follow, Range Templar. So for those of you who just landed, I mentioned it at the beginning, but let's mention it once again now. I think if you want to play Ezreal, you have to commit into a lot of spells and stuff, because that's how the deck is going to work. But I don't think this is going to be super good. And I think if you start committing into something else that is not spell-based, then you might as well play Teemo. It's probably better. So I just think this is close to what you could do best with Ezreal. But I just also think it's not enough to be a dominant meta deck because of Deflect. Most likely. if you want to be good, thinking about the game and why your list are troll is the way. Theory is the way, in my opinion, so I kinda agree. I would say it's kinda tough because you have to have experience to understand win conditions, to understand like complex concepts. But once you have them in there, then it's just about, okay, if they have this and I have this, what happens? Like, I play A, they play B, what happens? And then once you're able to like have that sort of mental image, just like chess players, I did improve at deck building a lot when I started focusing on being able to build up images in my brain, if that makes sense. Like kind of a chessboard, right? Like I can have that playmat in my brain and be like, okay, I do this, they do this, I do this, they do this over several turns, and kind of like figure out a game and how this goes if like I play my best outs and they play their best outs. And so this allowed me to optimize a lot of my time. Like when I have like, I'm under the shower, I have 5 minutes and I want to build a deck, I'm like, okay, so if I play into deflect, what would be my best answers to, let's say, like blue Ornn, which is most likely like 8, 9, 10 might. And then I think, and I'm like, okay, I want to have this. But then if I have this and they have like d5, which is the answer, what happens? And then if I do this, what happens? But they do this. And potentially this turn, what's their best turn? Okay, it's Fox. So they play Fox. What do I do? And then at some point, you can kind of try to figure infinite scenarios and get a hold on like, yeah, this is how it's going to work out most likely if this is what ends up being played. And then it's just about you understanding what's strong and what's not. And so you know what to play around and what to try to theorize around. Basically, that's about like how I do stuff. Because I like compared to pro level players, I would not say I'm a pro level player because I don't play enough these days. But I don't play a lot. Even when I was like super good at Yu-Gi-Oh, I was not playing a lot. Like I was mostly playing like, at best, I would be playing like 10 to 12 hours a week. Like at best. Like putting in a few reps through like sims, like let's say 2 games on like Tuesday night and then 1 game on Thursday night, and then dedicating my Saturday to locals, like playing like 6 hours, and that was about it. Because if you are able to like think about them games, you don't need to play them, right? That's kind of my thought process. But like it takes time to get to that point. You need to have like a lot of experience, which I do. Once again, I'm not like gifted or anything. I just like I've spent a lot of time doing it, so it makes sense that I'm good at it, right? It would be scary if I was not. it would be actually terrible for me. And then battlefields wise, sorry guys, that was a pretty long parenthesis in there. Battlefield wise, I'm playing 2 new battlefields. Candlelit is the first one that I wanted to play for like neutral games, if you will, game ones. It's just good to be able to cycle through the deck, find your potential one-off mundos, find your potential removals and stuff. As I mentioned, this is kind of a combo deck. You have to combine both removal and might reducers. So if you combine both together, it's super good. If you only have one of them, it's not like super good. So being able to dig through the deck and cycle and like get to see what you want to draw and what you want to bottom deck felt good. So that was my like kind of how I want to stabilize the deck game 1. And then going first, I want to play Raven Blue, which is when you defend here, reveal the top card of your main deck, and if it's a spell, you put it in your hand, otherwise you recycle it. This is my going first battlefield because I'm going to be able to get in there super easily. I have a lot of ways to control the early game, be it might reducers or straight up like clears. So I'm most likely getting in there, and once I'm in there, I'm most likely drawing into a spell because like I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 23, 25 spells. So about 2/3 of my deck are spells. And also there's a super cool thing with Ezreal is that when they do, like this is when you defend, reveal the top card, but it's not once per turn. So if they attack several times, you get to proc it several times basically. And so the point is you have so many cards that allow you to win on defense as actions, as might reducers and stuff, that sometimes they have to attack into several battlefields, which several times into the same battlefield, which feels super bad because then you can draw into several spells and you just like you use a spell to clear them and then you draw a spell that is going to be able to clear their next attack. So like this battlefield feels super good. I believe it's better than Grove, specifically in Ezreal because you play so many spells. I really did like it, and I feel like in some decks it has the potential to be completely cracked. I feel like in Ezreal it is. And then going second, I play Hall of Legends. There are not a lot of legends that get a lot of value being rescinded. So this is when you conquer here, you may pay 1 to ready your legends. And basically you just use it as a draw 1 battlefield. This is like other decks have good ways to value Dreaming Tree. They have good ways to value Grove. They have good ways to value Zone. But not many legends have an effect that's as impactful as Ezreal at drawing. And so what I want to do with this is like, it's kind of my Dreaming Tree, but I don't want to give you the Dreaming Tree. So I'm playing Hall of Legends instead. So whenever I'm able to proc Ezreal, I can just go like tap, draw 1, conquer it there. Also, this is a reaction, so that's super important. If they establish in there, I can like attack in there, use 2 spells to clear them, then instantly chain tap Ezreal, then conquer, pay 1, ready it, tap it again, draw another one. What's the sentence, Xentron? I don't remember. I don't remember the sentence. I do say a lot of stuff, so I can't remember everything. So I feel like this is kind of the better Dreaming Tree if you're Ezreal, but it's basically the same usage. So yeah, that's about it regarding my Ezreal list and the reasoning behind it and how I want to work with battlefields. Rune splits, you have a lot of blue power, like almost entirely blue power, but you can pay your signature with like blue power too. And then purple, you also need to play the champion, then play the cold shot the first time, then sometimes you want to play right away. And so I'd rather have like 5 of them to make sure I have 3 to 4 purple wounds in the late game and not be stuck on like being like having to choose between cold shot and ride, or having ride in my cold shot and like not being able to pick it because like I don't have that purple rune. So yeah, might as well. Maybe if you want to play like rebukes in the side and stuff, you can even go to 6/6, but you have a lot of blue power cost, especially in the top end area and the smoke screens. So yeah, that's about it for the deck theory. Now let's talk about the cards that I'm not playing into the deck, and you guys had some questions, so let me just scroll the chat. What about Vex? I think Vex is just too slow if you can't accelerate it. I think this is a potential sideboard card for Irelia into green matchups, because you just play Vex, you accelerate it, they don't have an answer, and then you push into battlefields and they basically can't do anything because it gets too expensive. But aside from that, I just think it's a bit too slow. Like, you want to play this in base in several matchups, but then they just clear it or they drop all their spells now because this is not in combat. So I feel like this is a bit too slow, in my opinion. What were the other chords? Bargain chords. Bargain is this chord, right? I believe aside from any, this is one of the most bait chords of the set. And I believe... Oh, okay, the sentence is, when the theory is good, the gameplay follows. Yeah, I might have said that. I do believe it's true, though. I do believe it's true. Like, you don't... Some people learn while playing infinite amount of games. Like, they have to play 100 games a week to learn every situation, and then they know how to react. But then if you just know how things are supposed to unfold, you don't need to have met that situation to know what you need to do to deal with it. Most of the time. It's not like 100% true, but like, that's the overall idea. Like, in this matchup, my win condition is to get to that point. This interaction pops up, I don't know about it. How can I react to be closer to my goal? And then you kind of know what you have to do, right? So Burgain, I really do believe this card is one of the biggest bait cards of the set. Maybe you could see play in any. But even in any, I'm not like super convinced. Because, like, okay, it gives purple a counterspell, which purple did not have so far. So this kind of makes sense. But also, Annie struggles with consistency. And set 2 probably is not going to help in that regard. Or then you're playing Draven or something, but then you have to have untap runes. Like, yeah. But if you struggle with consistency, why would you play a chord that only helps you when you're winning already and does not help you when you're struggling? This is the thing. Like, this chord feels like a win more chord to me, which is why I would probably not play it. Then once you're ahead, it kinda seals the deal. But also, you have to be ahead enough so that they have to use their big blowout chords without having the 2 extra energy or the 4 extra energy to pay for it. Like, let's say you die to Rain. Because you play Annie, you have somewhat of a board, you die to Rain. How much of an opener do you need to have for them to be forced to use Rain on 7 instead of on 9? Most likely they're just using it on 9 to play around that chord. And then if they do that, what do you do, right? Like, do you have to keep 4 runes open perma to make sure they can't use Rain so you can repeat and then they have to pay 11? I mean, this is probably not so good. I think this is seeing play because, like, people want to make this work. And on paper, it seems kind of good. But, like, I think reality check, not going to be so good. I don't like that chord. What was it about? Opinion Bargain, Vex. Were there any other chords? Fizz. Someone talked about Fizz. Yeah, there's a reason I don't include Fizz in the deck, and this is just room in there. I don't have that much room in the deck. I don't think there are several chords that you can cut, and I don't think I want to add a chord that costs me power. I mean, I'd rather play like straight up removals like Windsinger than use Fizz to play something like Ghost or Wages. So then what is it over? Like, what do I want to play Fizz over? And I'm not so sure I find a spot for this. Like, this deck actually is pretty tight. If you play this list, because you need to have a lot of removals and a lot of might reducers, and you need to combine both. So if a chord is not one of these, like straight up, I feel like you don't play it. But Fizz is not trash. Could see play. It's just a question of like deck space, basically. Thoughts on main deck Minotaur Reconner for slower red decks? Feels like so much in set 2 will be movement values based. Minotaur, I like that card, but it's sideboard for sure. So Minotaur is a 5/5 that with units can't move to base. This is definitely not a main deck card in red decks, but this is going to be a sideboard card to punish decks like any 2 punish decks, like for sure. Even in Kesa, like it feels super good to be able to play it in Kesa to stun them in battlefields and then you just clear them. This is going to see play in the sideboards. I don't doubt it. Main deck though, most of the time it's probably doing nothing, right? So yeah, not good enough to be main deckable, but in certain scenarios it's probably going to be a super strong card. Now once again, last disclaimer, because maybe some of you guys just landed. I don't believe this Ezreal build is top of the pop. I just like the list. I feel like it's good. I feel like this probably goes to what Ezreal can do best. But does it mean that Ezreal is going to be on top of the charts with this? Nope, probably not. Because you can't win into deflect with this list. You have to combine both might reducers and removal on units that force you to pay between 1 and 2 extra power every time you activate a chord. This is not a viable game plan into Ornn. This is not a viable game plan into Irelia. And if you want to do something else with Ezreal that's not spell focused, might as well play Teemo in my opinion. So probably not top tier, unfortunately. But when you're not paired into these deflect matchups, this deck feels super good, and I would not be too surprised to see it perform, having a run in which like it goes to like 6-1 in a city challenge, only losing to the one Ornn they face, but like beating the Seviers, beating like the Kaisas. Like this feels super good when you can play your chords, and super bad when you can't. Sadly, I think it's main deck for Volibear, but then again, you're playing Volley. Yeah. Then again, you're playing Volley. You kind of said everything there is to say about Volibear, unfortunately. For you, which deck will be the best? That's an interesting question. I did not test enough to say which deck will be the best. I can say what decks I think will be good from testing, but remember, I'm not testing every single set 2 deck, and I've not tested set 1 decks with the updates of set 2. So I can't really tell which one is going to be like the best. Good ones though, in my opinion. Ornn is going to be a good one for sure. I think Rek'Sai is going to be a good one. Any probably is going to be good. I believe Kaisa is going to be like decent, but probably falling a bit in popularity because of like Deflect popping up. Irelia is going to be good. So far, I do believe in Irelia, I do believe in Fiora, I do believe in Ornn, I do believe in Rek'sai, and we could pop. Let's pop Tog's tier list to talk about that. You know what? Tog was there on the stream before. Don't know if he's still here. He was for a moment. The guy that you saw in the chat was Tog. Can I see Tog's profile though? Rumble as I don't like Rumble. I feel like Rumble has such a terrible ability. I don't see it performing, unfortunately. So Tog is a purple lover, huh? Tog thinks purple is going to be cracked. Look at that. Purple, 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 purple. Maybe purple is cracked though. Purple is by far the color getting the best support out of Spirit Forge. No doubt about that. Is it going to be top of the pop though? Unsure. Yeah, I would probably say... Why would he be C tier though? Is Tog here? Let me just ping Tog. Tog. You sleeping, brother? Wanna hop on stream to talk about your tier list for 30 minutes or something? Let's see if he replies. Not sure he will, but if he does reply, we can have Tog on stream talking about like his tier list. Yo Ray, how you doing? Purple gets some cracked cord. Yup. Thank you for the follow, Dex. Thank you so much. Welcome home, brother. Tog might be sleeping though. He's offline on Discord. And I believe Tog lives in Australia. So it's like probably something like... Yeah. Oh, he's coming. Give me 2 minutes. He's coming. Tog's coming. So we can have a tier list talk with Tog. I've not tried all of these legends. So I won't be able to like tell you so much about all of this. I'm only going to talk about like what I believe for the colors and stuff and the ones that I did try. But if Togs want to have a chat and gives us a bit of an explanation, for sure, let's have that. This is results based on the first week, right? That you sent me, Xentran, I believe. Let me just check that. Yeah. This is probably results based on the first week of Tierlist in China. I'm not too surprised to see Yi and Kaisa up there because like people are still playing their deck. They're very used to it. So they are smashing newer players on like newer decks. Like you are not a perfect Ornn player yet. You are not a perfect Rek'sai player yet. Whereas you can be close to a perfect Kaisa player. So I feel like having the top decks still in the S tier makes sense. Raven Irelia, I'm not too surprised. Azir, Rek'sai, Ornn is kind of what I predicted though. My list was that. Tier maker. My list was that of top decks, bottom decks. So Ornn, Azir, Rek'sai, Draven are on top, like performing. So on like my 4 best decks are the 4 best decks to perform with Irelia, which is just right below. So kind of accurate on that one. Fiora is right after. So basically, on the 6 best Spirit Forge Legends, we are 6 out of 6 on predictions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, right. That's 6. Then Lucian, Rumble, Jax. The other ones are just like slightly below, not playable, in my opinion. I think Sivir has a higher potential than D tier. And I think these are not going to be good. Ezreal, where's Ezreal in there? C tier? Maybe, yeah. Maybe, because like deflect is so hard to deal with. If you have a god run in which you don't meet any deflect, I could say it's seeing play. But if you end up being pairs into deflect, that game is over straight up. Tog is setting up. So we are going to have ads and then we can see Tog. Thank you, Dex up for your Dex Kopf, sorry, for your kind message. Thank you, brother, for the support. Much love. Sorry if this is difficult to answer, but do you think they will ever be all for mid-range tempo MF instead of it being an Aurora deck? Yes, I believe set 2 brings hope for tempo purple decks. You have a lot of great tools. Temptation is super good. Borgain is probably playable. Like we just have to look at the purple card, Gary, to realize how good purple is getting in set 2. It was probably the weaker color in set 1, but set 2 though, like Cold Shot is super cracked. Maybe not in MF, but like it's a super cracked card overall. Overzealous is a super good turn 1. Temptation is cracked. Treasure Hunter is a super good turn 1. Factory Recall is a decent gear removal. Windsinger is a super good turn 1 into some of the meta problems, such as like Yi and stuff. Like this brings you such insane answers to that. Borgain is probably playable, I guess. Fizz is one of the better cards of the set too. Ezreal is one of the better champions of the set too. Like you have so many good cards in purple that I definitely could see these decks in play. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, great. Let's call Tog. Let's call Tog, guys. I need to unmute him though. There, so you guys can hear him. Yo, Tog.
Yo.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good, my bro. How you going?
Fine, bro. I need to ask you something. So you guys, if you don't know, this is Tog, one of the best set players in the world, guide maker, best set guide in the world. Is that still holding?
Yes, sir.
Still standing strong. I need to ask you a question, brother. You told me you live in Australia, right? So right now, isn't it like 7 in the morning or something?
Yeah, it's like 6:43 a.m.
You slept or you're still up?
No, I slept, but I got up at like 3. I'm still adjusting my body clock back to normal after Houston.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. So you're still jet lagged, right?
Yeah, still hella jet lagged, but we're slowly getting there, slowly fixing it.
So you were in Houston. Let's talk about that first, because maybe people don't know you, maybe they do. Maybe they'll get to know you better soon. Not spoiling anything yet, but we might be doing some stuff together. So you did go to Houston playing set. How did it go? And how did the trip go as a whole?
Yeah, the set. Okay, so leading into Houston, obviously, like we knew regionals was happening for a long time, so we're doing a lot of testing. I was actually and I made my set guide months earlier, like 6 months before Houston, before you could even buy tickets, before it was even announced. So I've had it this whole time. But a couple months heading into Houston, like 3 months earlier, in all the team discords that I tested and shit with a lot of the killers, a lot of the people that won the Medal Legends or like performed extremely well at the tournament, we all found out set wasn't very good. So it was always like in the back of my mind if I should actually take set to Houston or not.
Alrighty.
Ended up doing it just for the branding. Yeah, ended up just doing it for the brand. Tried to get the set Medal Legend. Ended up being 1 win away from it. So
sucks.
If I won my 8th round, my breakers were the best. And I would have beaten the people with my record, but they had a draw instead of a loss.
Could you win it? Or was it like unwinnable?
No, it's a disaster. So he accidentally did stack deck and shuffled the 3 cards into his hand.
Oh.
And then it was a full judge call.
Okay.
This all happened, so that's all unfortunate.
Okay.
It gets somewhat fixed, like remedied. That happens. It was unintentional on his half, by the way. So no flame to him. But unintentional judge call. We fix it up a little bit. It's not the true game state that happened. It was a really long judge call. It's the last round of the day or whatever. So I'm completely out of the zone after the judge call as well.
Yeah, okay.
And then he ends up holding a field. I'm on 7 points. He has to break like 13 might. He's holding a field, no cards in hand. He's on my Grove. And then he top decks Vi, and then Grove trigger, Ride the Wind. And yeah.
Nah, for real?
And it's 3rd Vi and his 2nd ride.
Oh.
So I was, it's just, and I lost 40K from that.
Yeah.
I lost 40K from that.
40K from top deck. Life sucks.
After the stack deck thing, bro, I was fuming. I was telling Randy, Prismat, like everyone, I was like, bro, this is a disaster, man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I get you, bro. 40k is something. 40k is definitely something. But you're making big
yeah,
money next. By the way, I mean, you are in Australia, so you probably plan to go to China, right? It's not like that far.
yeah. I am planning to go after going to Houston. So I only played one side event, and it made back my entire trip. And like my trips cost like 2 to 3 grand because I'm in Australia,
Okay.
and like it just, I was like, oh, what the fuck? The EV at these tournaments is just too good. Like honestly, I'm just gonna go to China and it's probably gonna
Yeah.
pay itself back. Like I was
Okay,
like,
you. So
damn.
you're getting your revenge there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Can you see the Israeli? Yeah, let me just share the Israeli talk, and then we can talk about the tier list talk because there's. I feel like let's not spend like 2 billion hours while we're still in the very early stages of the format, but I would love to hear your thoughts because you did a banger tweet that popped all over the internet talking about like having tested a lot with your playtest partners and
Yeah.
having like strong opinions on the format. So I want to hear about it, and I also want to know what you think is going to be the goo coming into these upcoming events. So let me share my screen. You can see it. There. Great. Let me know if you can see it properly.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see it.
So just before you can talk, let's give a bit of context of the overall thing, and then you can like talk about yours. First thing first, this was my prediction after like reading all of the cards, right? Like we got all of the legends, we got all of the cards. This was my prediction on like what's going to be strong and what's going like not to be so strong.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kinda accurate so far, but it's still very early, so we can't say it's good. And we also have the data on the Chinese thingies that happened this weekend because they had their first weekend of Spirit Forge events, which kinda corroborates that set 2 thingy. Obviously, there's only set 2 legends here. Top
Yeah.
6 is the same top 6 as mine, and then we have like the legends that people already played before and were strong before. If you're a good Kaisa player, you are way better than a good Ornn player that has only like 10 games with the legend. So not surprised to see Kaisa, Yi, any set up there. But aside from that, I think this could end up being a fair representation of the format. And yours is completely different. So I'm not saying like yours is wrong. What I want to know is your thoughts and what led you to these conclusions because you obviously tasted way more than I did.
Nah, nah, nah. I'm saying China is dead wrong. They are wrong, bro. I'll stand 10 toes on this. Bro.
Alrighty. You seem
So,
to think purple
yeah.
is super broken, right? Like, bro,
Oh,
this
hell
like
yes.
purple. Huh. We love purple set too,
Yeah,
right?
like purple is insane next set.
Okay,
Purple, like
why would you say so? Bargain?
it's just so all of the well, it actually starts with equipment, which is weird because it'll circle into why purple becomes good.
Yep.
So equipment has completely changed the fundamental understanding of Riftbound. So whatever you think spells are good, whenever there's like a quick draw equipment that can trade with your opponent's spell, you not only neg their spell from their hand, win that trade, but the person that is down the spell needs to deal with the unit with the equipment on it because there's residual value on it.
Yep.
And so like what's ended up happening is cards like Discipline, On Guard, even Hexray and stuff, these cards have like just fallen off of a cliff because like Kaiser going second goes 2 drop hold up Ray. If they Ray and it gets like long sorted, you're so far behind because like you're down a card. Now it's harder to break that unit with the longsword on it on your next turn, and you need to because like big. Yeah, all of this is like made the low impact spells really bad. And so what ends up happening is if you're going to run spells in your deck, you need to be super high impact spells, and purple has access to all of them, right? So like Fuff Your Opponent's Dude's really good against big dudes, Rebuke, Ride the Wind, all these types of cards. I don't run Gust in any of them because of the same problem, but yeah, that's a big reason why purple's super good.
Okay, I get that. But then I have a concern regarding that maybe you have an answer for.
Yeah.
From like your testing does not seem to be the case. From my testing, I kind of figured that deflect was super good. not because like deflect is a good keyword, but because Irelia and Ornn have deflect champions that are, in my opinion, once again, like cracked. And so if you want to play them big spells, and you have to like recycle four runes or whatever to deal with them, and then you play purple, you don't actually deal with them. You just like postpone the problem, right? Like you bounce the Ornn, then next turn it's back. You fight or flight it back to best, then next turn it's back. And so at first I was like, okay, then purple is going to be super aggro, trying to like snowball them big decks with deflect stuff. But then I figured that Forbidden Monument would like kinda single-handedly deal with that problem. Am I wrong? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think like purple can outspeed these decks? Because I feel like it's very hard.
Yeah, I think they can. It's definitely something that you could probably check a little bit more. But we didn't find Monument to be all too impactful when we were trying it. The main time Monument did anything was if it's your going first field, you take the opposite side, and now your opponent can't trade fields and like get the point equal thing. But like the fact that the Monument, it's face up, right? It's just face up. They know I can't get 2 points on turn 2, so instead I'll just play to build for turn 3, and they get to see that with their mulligan as well. So like the value from the Monument, if you're choosing to use it going second, it doesn't actually affect them. So especially with Annie. So like Annie's still just going to play that 2-drop, but now if they see Monument, you might be happy with it, but she doesn't actually lose any value. She'll just mull her sneaky and look for Kaisers or Rengars. And so like instead of playing for that super fast hyper aggro game, she can just build her base to make the attack on the Ornn a lot higher percentage chance to work. And then obviously she's going to rebuke in the end game. So yeah.
Okay, so you believe like purple kind of turns to tempo and not complete aggro as it was in set 1. I could see that. I also think cause like temptation and stuff are correct. Like you can't, like people tell me, yeah, but like you can play around temptation. Like bro, you can't. Like playing around temptation means not playing. So yeah, if like potentially you don't develop because they potentially have temptation. I mean, what?
Which one's that one?
The cake thing, the double charm. This thing.
Oh wait, I've never played with this card. What the move an enemy unit to a location?
It's pseudo charm, but repeats and no power cost. And so basically, the thing is like to close the game. They say like to play into purple, you just have to not play into base, but like to close the game, they can just like play this, send your unit at battlefield A to base, then repeat on the other battlefield, send this to base, and then conquer both, and that game is like doomed. Then there's not much you can do about it. Sure, you can not play in base to play around this. But then, like, you just not play the game, so...
Like, yeah, I could see it. I've never tried that card. I just assumed it wouldn't work. But you've piqued my interest. Now maybe I should check it.
I don't think it's, like, super cracked, but I think the sole fact that it does exist is going to force you to play in weird ways, if it's seeing a tiny bit of play in, like, any or stuff. Yeah, I just think purple is getting so much good stuff. So I could see purple being a tempo deck and having, like... Yeah, you mentioned it, like Rebuke, Fight or Flight, Temptation. Like for 2 energy, they could basically kill anything you do. So, not kill, but right, like get it out of the way and then do what they want to. Yeah. So, okay, so
it's kind of free to just run it.
What's
like a 1 or 2 of. It's kind of free to just run it as a 1 or 2 of, because the real power of these purple decks is stack deck, man. This card is just. I think honestly, if any card is to get banned as first card, it would be stack deck, because if you run the actual math statistics on like the benefits of 1-ofs, 2-ofs, and 3-ofs when a deck includes stack deck, it's insane. It's like it's not balanced at all.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I maybe banning stat deck would be a bit too much, because I guess like filtering is what purple does, so would be taking away the identity. But yeah, it's like super correct. I do agree with that. And of course the other purple cards. So that's about it for like purple, which I get. Can we talk about the standalones now? Because there are some surprising things. To be fair, Victor, I'm not too surprised. But Lux, B tier? Tog, what have you been drinking? Tell us, brother.
No. So, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to leak this one. Because,
all right. Secret tech?
Yeah, this is Yeah, this is someone's deck that I don't think we've seen them lose in the Discord yet
Right.
with, and it is some extremely spicy shit. I might have to DM you it on the down low
Nah, don't worry, don't
if
worry. If you really
he
don't want to
lets
leak
me.
it, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. I was asking
Yeah,
if you could share. Of course, you guys are working your ass off to be the best Riftbound players in the world. You have the right to keep your secrets safe.
exactly. And like
Just
now that
please,
Metallic Legends are here,
you don't have to answer that one, but please
yeah.
let it not be the Savages combo, because I'm gonna throw up if this ends up seeing play. Like the seal
Which
into
combo?
Jace, seal into
Oh no
Jace
no
into
no.
Vanguard Armory stuff, super control. Like when he made the tweets, I was like, never
It's
working,
not
never
that.
seen
I
play.
promise, it's not.
Please, don't let that be
It's
it.
not that. It's one of those cards. I'll say Vanguard Armory's in there, and that card is
Yeah, I mean, it's super
probably one
control
of
deck,
the
I could see
biggest
it.
fixes. Yeah, it's one of the biggest fixes to Lux, and honestly, that might just give away the whole deck if you figure that out. But yeah, it's just Vanguard
Yeah,
Armory.
don't say
Very
too
good
much.
card.
Don't say too much.
Yeah.
Do we think control is going to be able to win into purple though?
That's the thing we have to check. You do have the good tools in those colors now with like the obviously you have access to like Coal, Hidden Blade, all of these types of cards.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have extra burn spells with Wages of Pain,
Mm-hmm.
and that can help bridge you get up to your Falling Comets, Singularities, whatever you want to do. And yeah, there's more. There's more.
Yeah, there's
You
more
can
control
kill
in there.
everything. I'll just say that. I'll just say that.
All right,
You can play
makes
Lux and you
sense.
can kill everything.
Makes sense. Surprises. What do we have there? Kai'Sa dropping to C tier. I kinda get that. I believe you are a bit harsh. It's probably still a B tier deck because it has some very free matchups. But I do agree with what you said on equips, and I do agree with what I said on deflect. So I probably think Kai'Sa is not going to be that dominant, and I guess that's a fine thing. I mean, Riot balancing, right? They create a problem, and then next step they fix it, and then next patch they fix it again and create another one, and that's what they do.
It's classic.
Yi
Absolute classic.
though, I'm interested because I don't see Yi falling off that hard, except maybe if people are bored of playing Yi, and then like they don't play it anymore, and like okay. But I feel like the deck gets decent tools in GA, in Punch First, like this kind of like very powerful cards in set 2, and it's still overall solid, and it's
So, a prerequisite to the Yi placement. My tier lists like these are always they're not static; they're dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So, like throughout the day, throughout the testing, after you watch more sessions, like in our Discord and whatever, like things get moved around as we check more things.
Mm-hmm.
What's ended up happening, like you said, Kai'Sa's gone up to B on my current tier list.
Okay.
And Yi's actually at E tier right now. We put Yi off.
Makes more sense.
He failed. He failed every check. Like we checked him into everything you could do right now, and this is a non-Aurora Yi. I'm pretty sure he just got like infinitely worse.
You meant E, not A. I heard A. Wait, you meant E?
No, E.
E.
Yeah, below D tier.
E?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
why?
It's that same thing.
Wait,
it's
why?
That same thing. Like all your cards, like On Guard, all of these cards, they're all dead. Defy has slowly like kind of fallen off as well. You do have access to Charm, Punch First, and stuff, but it doesn't help the problem that Yi already had beforehand, right? Where Yi's always pretty much struggled to be able to punch into a board. And now punching into a board when every spell that opponent is holding up is a high impact spell, it's near impossible for Yi to break like a red Draven on the board with 4 up. Like you actually just can't break it with anything until like turn 10. You need White Flame plus Defier. And so like what ended up happening, you start to play the RAM versions, and then RAM versions is just getting rebuked. So Yi is in a super weird spot where
okay,
like,
I could see that. Purple being so dominant that you can't beat purple, and then like you just lose. Okay, I get that. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like amplified all his problems from last set.
So down to E tier, huh? Okay.
You want my updated one? I'll send it. I'll send you my updated
Yeah. Send it. Can we share it, or is it like secret?
Yeah. No, because I shared it on Twitter and I just update it every day.
Okay, let's just share the current one then, so we can have more precise intel. Let me just save this.
Yeah, because how old is that one? That's like 3 days old, that tweet. And so that tier list is probably 4 days old. We've probably played another 200 games in that Discord easily.
All right, so this is the updated version of it. Let me check.
Yeah.
S tier? S tier?
S, baby.
Nah. Nah,
you're
not.
Baby.
You a mech believer.
Bro, if I told it passed every single check with flying colors.
No.
And we just named it. My deck list, my Rumble deck list is named Master Yi. It just fixed all of Yi's problems in this deck. It's just blue Yi.
Bro, your legend is
so
Shield
good.
1. Yeah, like, let's stop at that. Your legend is Shield 1. Do we have to go even any further than that? Your legend is fucking vanilla, bro.
No, because now your 2 drops on turn 2 going second can never break mine, and then I have my 4 my back in the back, or you hold up your... No, you have to see the play patterns. I can't... It's hard to actually explain it. But it's shield 1 on turn 1, and if that's ever relevant, you're too far behind to come back. And then he's Yi that can stack on the board with multiple units. So it eventually becomes triple Yi. Like you just have 6 units here with a breakneck in the back or whatever, and you can stand up on the boards because it's quite common. You get to like 30 to 40 might on a field by like turn 5, turn 6. It's very common. And I just have to say, this is a quick shout out. Rumble's curve of 2-drop, Red Rumble from Champ Zone into Forerunner, summon Forerunner on a field. It actually has a 100% win rate in our Discord. With like, I don't know how many games, like probably like 50 games or whatever with Rumble. Forerunner turn 3 has a 100% win rate, first and second.
All right.
This card is not balanced.
I have to tell you, I'm not convinced about Rumble, but maybe you make me lie. Like, I just...
You got it.
Like, bro, I just... Like, all of these cards feel so low impact, and it just feels like a shit-ass combo deck that you're like, yeah, but if I hit everything, mechs are so strong.
There's no combo. You're just a numbers deck. There's no combo in there.
I mean, yeah, you have to combine them together. This is what I meant with like combo, but like you get me. Kitty Cat is just like perma unplugging the camera, please. Go away. Like the camera is just going on and off because she's tapping it. Okay. Okay. Well, I did not test Rumble because I was so sure it would be shit. So I'll have to trust your word on that one and maybe test it.
I saw your
soon.
slander on it before, bro. I saw your slander on it.
Bro, I'm not a mech believer.
There's no way.
Like every single mech card, aside from the thing that reads like create a 3 thingy and draw 1, and maybe the one that gives ganking, but like even that one is not that good. I really do believe like aside from these cards, every single mech card is like.
Now there's this weird thing that happens, right? So like if I play my 3 mana 3/3, even if it's vanilla in the base, it ends up just being a 3 mana 3/3 with Assault 1, Shield 1, maybe +1 from the blue as well. And then all of a sudden, like my regular little 3-drop is contesting your Kaiser. And God forbid I have any mana up to also play interactions on these turns as well. It's like, yeah, I can't even explain it. You do have the play patterns like against Annie, where you can just play to the field and you just force them to FOF or rebuke on your big dudes immediately, or they can't break it, insta-break their parity, and then you're just too far ahead. I also have to say, just he gets to run high impact burn spells like Sky Splitter and Get Excited and stuff.
Yeah.
He also just has his equipment pieces are also just broken. Quick draw is a broken keyword, and if you do the math on
quick draw
what quick draw actually equates to, quick draw is equal to draw a card, like in terms of value. And so you have cloth armor and longsword in these colors, and they're really good.
Oh, we are playing cloth armor. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hold,
yeah.
I guess that makes sense. And you play time warp to win going second. Okay, I can see the line. I don't like it. Dog, I don't like it. I can tell you that. I don't like it, but I can see the line.
Come to the church, brother. The church of Rumble.
No, I'm never going to be.
My kid.
No, bro. Yeah, listen to me right now. If I'm casting like Chinese rituals and Rumble is S tier, everyone says is S tier, I'm going to pick it as my like not performing good deck. I don't give a shit.
Bro, you a D1 hater, man. Why are you D1 hater?
Bro, all of these
God
cards seem
damn.
so shit. Like I don't want it. I don't even want it to be good. Church of Rumble Pog. Yeah, I guess you have to join the Tog court though. Tog is the priest, and then you guys are the believers. Like they've been breaking my balls with like Rumble for like ages. Look at this new mech card. Is it good? Is it good? No, guys, it's not. And then you come in here and you're like, you just revive their fire.
It's the Church of Rumble. It's the Church of Rumble. Amen.
Can you actually win to control the, like into Kaisa? Isn't it like auto lose?
No, Forerunner, bro. Forerunner is so good, man.
Forerunner is the big
so
ass
many
thing that gives
resources out of
deflex
them.
and accelerate, right?
No, that's Breakneck. Forerunner is the 6 mana. When it dies, make 2 3/3s.
Oh yeah,
But they're
that
never
one.
just 3/3s.
Yeah, that one.
It just
that one
takes
is
so
good.
much resources out of Kai'Sa to have to kill this.
Yeah,
And then they get rewarded by me cracking them back for 3 to 8, like on the next turn, or take both points.
Yeah, that makes
Like-
sense. Okay. I can see that. Forerunner is
Yeah.
Forerunner is definitely the decent card of the pack. Well, I
Exactly.
think it's probably seeing play in other decks too, no?
Yeah, that's currently where we're at. We're putting Forerunner in most of the red decks just to double check, including Kai'Sa. So far, it looks good in Rek'Sai. It was fine in bigger versions of Draven. Speaking of Draven, I should move Draven up to S, by the way, but that's another topic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks good in Big Draven, looks good in Rek'Sai. It looked fine in Kai'Sa. I think Kai'Sa is going to end up just being kind of a worse Annie, though, that can run Falling Star instead of Rebuke and stuff. So, and Time Warp for what that's worth. But yeah,
Alrighty.
Forerunner good.
Is there anything surprising in there? I mean, Seaver being that high, I guess Seaver, it's either you crack the code and then it gets like super duper good, or it's just like mid as C tier forever. I guess since it's purple, it has bonus points, maybe like B tier, but A tier? Like, is it just like, you don't have to tell me what like the deck is, if there's like secret decks and stuff, but is it just like good stuff severe with like all of them like good mind splitters, I don't know, or like anything that recycles too basically, because there's a lot of good stuff, punch first, whatever, or is it like a secret like crack the code stuff? Because I feel like if you don't crack it, it's not good enough to make it up there.
I'm not too sure where the general pop is with Siva, but Siva, if you actually just try all her cards in the deck, like put all the good cards in, like the deck is just good. Like you realize it immediately. And
Yeah,
so,
it's
like,
just like good stuff, yeah. Okay.
yeah, like the deck is just good because what's underrated is just turn 3, Orange Siva, like just play Orange Siva is kind of threatening. Like your
Orange
opponent is kind of
Siva.
unsafe.
Wait.
Yeah,
In
orange.
my mind, the purple one is the only good one. What's the fuck is Orange Silver?
No,
It's
no.
The accelerate thing?
The
This
orange
time?
one. This one that looks expensive, yeah.
No, it does not look expensive. It is literally like the entire money made by like some random countries like in a year or something. What the fuck is that? bro, it does not look expensive. What the fuck is that? This is
Bro,
what you play in the
slam
champ zone.
the-
You don't play this?
No, it's Orange Siva. You just play Orange Siva to base on turn 3, untap with however many runes. Like if you had a Treasure Hunter, is that what it's called? Bounty Hunter, Treasure Hunter opener, then you're probably untapping with 7, unless you're just gonna untap with 5, and it's more than enough because all your spells are super high impact. But also once you get to this Siva to base untap turn, you're going to be at a point deficit for sure. But your opponent's only going to have so many units in the base. You're a deck with access to challenge, sabotage, punch first, rebuke, ride the wind, all of these. Your opponent can't safely stand on the field the turn that you put Siva in the base. So you actually like half the time they can't take 1 extra point because you Siva, kill that thing, kill the thing in the back as well. And it's too much value. But also on this turn, if you do still have like residual golds or whatever, there's this.
Well, what
I
do you
don't
mean
know if
have
this is
residual
leaking.
golds?
You-
You have to pay 1 billion gold to spawn this. How do you have residual gold?
Or you'll make 1 gold off of her, right? And then
Okay,
like, normally there's-
so that gold. Okay.
Yeah, Yeah, there's residual gold. But
Residual, quote unquote.
what ends but what ends up happening is she is the best cold shot deck because of all the gold tokens. And so very common play pattern is Civ at a base turn 3, turn 4, untap, your opponent's like sitting in base, and you can dig 13 cards deep to find anything. And so you can run a lot of greedy like little one-offs and shit. By just going like double cold shot, find another double cold shot, whatever, find the challenge that you need, find the Sabo that you need, find the punch first that you need, find whatever, find the flash if it's one of those matchups where it's like hidden blade or whatever. And yeah, you just play raid boss Sivir. And it just works. I don't know. Like Annie just can't break it through all these broken ass interaction pieces in Sabo, your rebuke and stuff. So yeah, we ranked it pretty highly.
Okay. I could say that. I mean, I kind of figured good stuff Sivir would be decent. The only question was that is it able to crack over average good? Maybe it is. Like I just feel like functional, yes. Good checks, is the question. Functional, I could say it, but I would definitely have put my money on purple, not orange Sivir. So maybe that was me not being greedy enough.
Yeah, exactly. Just greed, brother. Just greed. Every double costed spell, put it in, brother.
But bro, I can't trust you on that. You play set. You've never had more than 6 runes in your life. So why would I trust you? You're playing the game with 6 runes open every turn, bro. You don't even know how it feels to get to 10. Like double digits rune is like never reach territory for you. What set 1 cards is he buying up? Interesting questions. Is there a must buy now? That you don't leak your entire practice with?
Yeah, stack deck is one.
I mean, yeah. Makes sense.
I think this card is eternal. I think Red Darius as a unit, now that equipment's in the game, I think Red Darius is one of the most broken units in the game right now.
Was it not before?
Yeah, but like amplified now. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna buy up as many of those. I think green decks, it's hard to exist without White Flame. I think Ornn's the only one that can do it without White Flame. So I think that's a good hedge buy. And honestly, Imperial Decree probably.
Okay. Decree, for those who don't know, is the yellow spell with Azir on it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Probably not.
I mean, if tokens are good, Decree is good, so makes sense. It's still a card that you want to have around, even if it's not in play, it's going to see play at some point. Now talking about the disappointments, because there are a few legends that I see performing that you don't seem to think they are. What do we think about Azir? I really did believe that Azir would be straight up better Leona in a format in which like combat is super strong because equips, punch first. Like there are a lot of cards that you can't avoid having to face. Whereas in set 1, I felt like you could avoid some combat stuff. In set 2, it's going to be way more complicated. Like there are so many big units and stuff floating around. And then Azir has not so fast to deal with purple on top of DeFi. It has like that early game tempo playing equips, which once again are super valuable. And it has them stun cards that I believe are also kind of important in the format, could be kind of good. So why would we put Azir in D tier? Is there any specific reason? Or is it just like overall decent but not good enough? What's the Azir plan?
Yeah, he's in such a weird spot. So like on reveal, Azir was the first one that I had my eye on. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make an Azir deck. This looks really good. Like numbers are good. Pay 1 for 2 might is amazing. But yeah, what ended up happening is he doesn't have as many super high impact and like evergreen or like flexible high impact spells in these colors. Hidden Blade's like the main one, but Thwonk and stuff is too conditional. There's a lot of problems where you have problems like as if you were Master Yi. Like you kind of struggle to push into a lot of boards now that these other boards are going to be holding up cards like, I don't know, like Cloth Armor and it's just Rumble numbers, or it's a Punch First in an orange deck, or it's a like Rebuke Foff your dude, something like that. So you actually have a lot of problems actually attacking in, and you're not the best hold deck either. It may be that we just haven't found the most optimal Azir build. We've just like picked it up, tested a little bit, ran it against what we perceived as the best decks.
All right,
It
makes
performed
sense.
super poorly, and then we just kind of moved on. So maybe we need to check back on that, but it didn't look very promising. There's no like, holy shit, this is like the reason to play Azir.
Yeah,
The biggest one was like green Azir, but even that is getting got by a lot of the tricks that we play in our decks.
Alright, it makes sense. Maybe,
Yeah.
not so sure, but maybe we have to value green though, because if purple is super good, green being able to main deck 3 defies and 3 not so fast is kind of an answer, ain't it?
Kinda, you would think so. So we have a color rating. We tier list everything, bro.
Alright.
We have green at the bottom. We have green at the bottom.
Already, why so? Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like green
So
has some of the better gears. Probably, as in like for Jax and Ornn at least. And some of the better answers to purple spell. So what would be the reason for that?
So you can have the answers to the exchanges, but you still need to have the bigger board / unit than your opponent, right? And all of these counter spells that you name, a big problem in this format is punch first. So punch first,
Yeah.
if they just punch your thing, it feels devastating. You still need to somehow develop like 12 might or whatever on like turn 3 to be able to punch over a red Draven with 4 mana up, because that represents 11 for the people that haven't tested against Draven much, which is almost impossible.
What do you mean punch
it's like
first
hidden
is
blade or
Draven? Wait. Punch first is orange, right?
No, punch first like is separate to the Draven question.
Wait, what's there about the
Like
11 red Draven then? I did not understand that.
So red Draven standing on a battlefield, if they flash in longsword and spinning axe,
Oh, okay,
and activate the ability, it's actually representing 11.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Which is like a broken number. So yeah, like you're just struggling into all these decks, and you're not fast at scoring, and if you're not fast at scoring, you have to stop your opponent from scoring, and he struggles to do that against like Annie specifically and Victor. So yeah, he just does everything not quite good at all. So yeah.
not quite good at all.
I
goes from like decent to trash tier in a second.
I'm convincing myself he goes down, bro. As I'm talking, I'm like, wait, why is he this high then?
From like B to C to D to E in a sentence, right? Alrighty, gotcha. I feel like Ornn has potential. I've not tested Jax, I've not tested Azir, but I do think Ornn has potential if he can.
Ornn is good.
If he can contain that early aggression, which is going to be the biggest part of it. If he can contain that, I think he's going to have a shot, because green support and big blue bad boy is problems.
Yeah, I don't even know if you need to. Well, you don't have to contain it like you're an aggro deck per se as Ornn. I'm pretty sure you can play Ornn like you're an Aurora deck. You know how like the good Aurora players always will just stack up their base until the opponent is at 6 points, like threatening lethal, and then they walk onto the board and hold up all their mana. If you play Ornn just like that, with all the counter spells that you can fit, and like just have a 30 might Ornn on the field, and hopefully you're able to like dig towards Irelia's or Azir, I'm pretty sure like that's how you meant to play Ornn, like a full control deck, and you just set up for the first 4 or 5 turns until they threaten lethal.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the deck is still kinda slow, so I guess doing that you could get scammed. Yeah. Like if you have to like push with a fox and they have the rebuke or something, they could corner you. But yeah,
you definitely have to find all your counters, which is actually a problem.
I mean, the mid game of Ornn, like we don't talk enough about like the board dropper thingy. What's the name? Drop border. If you want to play gears, like this card is so insane. I feel like Ornn, if you get a decent turn 1, which is like not super correct, something like Cookie and then any Poro or like just blue Poro on its own, you kind of enable this, and this enables your mid game, and then from that point onwards, the game feels so good. You're just not paying power to do what other decks do, paying like 1 or 2 power each turn.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm a big fan of Accelerate.
Yeah, I mean, free Accelerate is even better.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any thoughts or lists for MF mid-range? Wait. The full comment is, do you have any thoughts or lists for MF mid-range? Question mark. The guy who posted the tier list on Twitter said it was good. So the guy who posted the tier list on Twitter is actually the guy in the Volgo right now.
Yeah, it was good, bro. Yeah, we definitely do have a list for MF mid-range.
Is it mid-range or is it all in A tier?
So we put both. It's both.
Okay, both for strong.
Yeah, I don't know if they're equal, but I do know where it is minimum where I'd put MF. So she's either A or S. It just depends on what the rest of the meta looks like. So like you could also argue that maybe we think Victor, or like we have Victor over hyped because we have MF so high, but MF's power level just is that high. Yeah, I have to say aggro MF is insane, by the way.
It has to
be
good
guys
at
look
some
into that
point,
deck
right?
again, holy.
It has to be good at some point. Like we have so many useful orange chords and purple chords. Is it? Yeah. Would you say like Sivir and MF are comparable? And if so, which one would be better? Or do we just have different game plans?
No, they're completely different. Sivir just gets to play all the best cards possible in the color combination, which is her benefit, and has a better champion zone. But MF's benefit is ganking and access to bullet time. And that is a very, very high upside.
Yeah, bullet time is chords, for sure.
Yeah.
Where are the lists? Okay, so just to answer all of you guys asking for lists and stuff. These guys, I don't know if that's the case for you, Tog, but I would assume so. These guys that he's talking about, like the Discord and stuff, the playtest group, these guys are making a living of being good at Riftbound, and they did not get good by mistake. They did practice a lot. They did test a lot of stuff. They did make mistakes and stuff. So we can't just like ask them to straight up drop the lists, which is why they do guides, right? To try and value that training time and like makes sense, right? If you want to get super good at football, then you get paid money to be good at football. So why would you not do so in court games? So Tog is obviously not going to drop every list in the words, but he's going to make guides in the future. So stay tuned for that for sure. Someone is asking if we are going to see a set 2 set guide.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to be doing small upgrades to, or like updates to the current set Metafire guide. I think set looks pretty good. I think I have him rated low just because I haven't checked him in like a week, as we've like developed this meta, but he should still be good. He got access to a lot of new cards, and his most powerful openers got amplified by like one little monkey, which is very good.
Monkey is cool.
So we're happy with that. The monkey is very, very good.
You a Warmog believer or not?
Very big Warmogs believer. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in the train.
I'm a big fan.
We can go for the Warmog Church instead of the Rumble Church. What do you think?
Why not? ¿Por qué no los dos? Both.
I thought Lux was A tier, or did the deck got to Victor? It got dropped down a little, yup. But like as Todd mentioned, it's just about like testing every day and like learning and discovering new strategies. So obviously it's a living tier list in a way. What monkey? Yeah. What's the name of the monkey? It's like you may pay an additional one to buff me, but what's the name? Sea monkey.
There you go, sea monkey.
Yeah, it's monkey.
It's so underrated. Yeah, it's so underrated because it fills a turn 1 slot, a turn 2 play, because playing him put a buff represent both unyielding but also Colder Glory on your turn 2 is a very big deal. And then also going second, it's a 3-might token, a 3-might unit that still represents Colder Glory. It actually like really, really helps the openers for set, which is where he was most vulnerable.
This, and we were also talking about like Discord, which is super good. Warmog. When I conquer buff me, extra might, like this just has everything set once.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much if I score, you have to kill me twice. Pretty much.
Yeah, and
very good.
And no power request on play, which means pressure, and you don't have to spend them early runes. You just need to use it when you have to. I mean, just
it's also just good math. like 1 mana and +2 once you get the buff.
Yeah,
Like that's just good math, and it just continual.
just super good. Metafy. You guys don't know about Metafy? Metafy is a platform for coaching and guide makings. I can share Tog's Metafy if you guys want to check it. So far, I believe there's only a set guide on there.
Yeah.
Am I right? But if you guys are set believers, it's probably the best one out there. Do you plan on making content outside of sets?
Yeah, so I'm currently in the middle of making. So a lot of people reached out to me on Twitter about joining the Discord, and so then Metafy. I'm homies with Corey from Metafy, one of the co-founders, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, so he like linked me up. We were talking before I was in this call, and thinking of making like a boot camp kind of thing through that Discord that I'm in with like a bunch of the killers. And so yeah, then you just have access to a bunch of very high level players, and yeah, pretty much out in testing. So you could expect to see that on Metafy soon, hopefully.
Ooh, huge news. He's Metafy. His Metafy
Yeah.
is in there. I just shared it. Weapon Master, you don't get to pull the weapon from the deck, right? No. Oh, hell no.
From the deck? God damn.
Play blue Ornn, search for any gear, equip it. Huh?
Spellsonger.
Yeah. No.
You're a hater?
What
You're a
word did
Spellsonger
you say? Svarsonger,
Spellsonger,
huh?
is that it?
Is it next to Rumble
Wait, is that-
in the tiers? Just to let me know if I have to work with you or if I just should cut that code now. You a Svarsonger believer?
I hate the card, but I think my version of Ornn that I play runs it.
Okay.
But I don't even know if my version of Ornn is good.
Okay. We can be friends and you make bad decisions. It's fine. I'm here
Hey,
to
yo.
help. I'm here to help my friends make better decisions. Did they talk about Fiora yet? Not really. Let's make it the last legend we talk about, because else we're going to be there for like 1 billion hours. And I'm not on fucking Australian time, so I have to sleep at some point. Fiora, I believe Fiora can be good, especially because she's the first of many legends having an actual counter that's not a green legend. So she basically has the pressure of being able to play a counter spell that is actually good and not like the purple shit cards, while having the benefits of playing 2 colors that are not green. What do we think about Fiora, Tug?
I love it. You get it. So you don't have to play green is a big upside. But yeah, Riposta's insane. She has access in those colors to the thing that we want in a meta as well, right? Where it's all high impact spells like Punch First, Sabo your rebukes away, Hidden Blade. She has access to all of these Call to Glory because you actually have a lot of buffs in this deck with Warmogs, and you're actually playing the 3 mana yellow Fiora that gives things that go to Mighty. You can essentially ready them.
Yep.
And you're playing off her, Orange Lucian, and Orange Set. In the deck is absolutely crap.
Yeah, it's busted.
Pretty much every single game, you're going to get up to 10 runes easily. And so you're you'll have high quality units on the board. You'll have high quality spells in your hand to be able to contest, whether it's attack or defense. Like, she just has everything going for her. The one problem that we're trying to solve is the card advantage problem. So she does run out of cards really fast because she has so much mana. She can play all of them to win every exchange early, but you might run out of gas. So as soon as she can fix this card draw problem through deck building, she could possibly just be like top of A, like in the S competition.
Are we playing
like,
the 4 energy, 1 power? If you kill the unit, you pay only 2, draw 2 cards? Could that be it?
Wait, what's that one? 4 energy.
Bro, I don't know the name, but like Spores of War, no? Yeah, Spores.
We tested the other one. There's a new one that says draw 2 like that, but it just costs 2 and 1 orange. What is it called? Mighty? Or some it's an orange. There it is. I saw it. Scroll down. It's the 3rd card. There. Show of Strength.
Wait, which one?
And that one was good.
Oh, this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That one performed crazy. It's minimum always going to draw 2.
Yeah.
And there's going to be certain situations where it's going to draw you 3 cards.
Yeah,
and
okay,
so,
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
using
probably
that,
not good in
hidden
other colors,
blade.
but since it's orange, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
makes sense.
exactly.
You don't
And
able to draw
then
cards.
Dreaming Tree game, I will say, she draws infinite off Dreaming Tree games.
Yeah.
So if there's a Dreaming Tree, you don't even have a card draw problem, and you
So
probably
if
just
you
can't
can
lose on
fix
Dreaming
one of the
Tree.
3 games and then you can like make the other 2 acceptable, I guess.
Yeah.
So would you say Fiora is straight up better set? Because they probably have right about the same purpose in game, right?
It's kind of similar to the MF Sivir thing, where they're doing different things. I'd say Fiora is the more aggressive set, if anything.
Okay. Is it not just about like
And yeah,
building up big punches and being there, and like Set loses the units but saves them, whereas Fiora loses them but pops better one with accelerates, punches back, similar thing?
yeah, it's like Fiora will play her yellow Fiora early, set, ready it, boost out onto the field, start like pressuring both fields and have high quality hands. Whereas like, yeah, Set's gonna like play it slow, develop your board, get on both boards. They try to play play your interaction war there, res, and then do your things. And then yeah, just keep your units on the board for the rest of the game. But
Well,
yeah, it's a lot harder to fight early as Set without going rune broke, I should say.
Thanks for the follows, guys. Your game plan just like made me thought of something. Like if you go monastery, isn't like solving the draw power problem? Because then like orange
Yeah,
sets,
monastery is good.
Warmug. Do we have anything? We could play monkey, I guess, right?
I think we cut monkey for unsung, which was very good.
Oh yeah, hero. Yeah, this is probably the only deck that could make unsung hero work. Like this.
Yeah.
This.
And oh my god, it's so good. Draw 2 on your 2-drop is so nice.
What you meant to say is so trash, but in Fiora specifically, it makes sense.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure. You're not wrong.
Like people were like, oh, but bro, draw 2, turn 1. And I was like, yeah, you have to use a billion code to make it like fine. But Fiora might want to. Has Seaver been discussed? Yeah, you can check the VOD, it's free. And Tog is giving us a lot of insight anyway, so might be worth checking that void if you just landed. Thank you very much for taking the time to answer. Gotcha. Thank you for being here, my brother Tog. What's next for you? When can they see you up until they see you here again?
I'm not even too sure. Probably within like the next week or I'll do another Twitter post or whatever. I really want to get this
we farming impressions, huh?
Engagement farming, bro.
Are we making the Twitter money though? How much stats? Oh, bro, we making that Twitter money. 234.
The reach is crazy. The reach was crazy. Bro. I wasn't expecting that.
This man is white Tog now. He's not Tog anymore. He's white Tog. Getting there.
White Tog.
I have a 240k tweets. How about you, huh? Alrighty.
Crazy shit. Crazy.
Yeah, so Twitter is the place. Metafy for coaching. Do you do coaching there? No, you don't, right?
I used to. I kind of just do it for fun, but yeah, I don't really coach during these times in the seasons. Normally, once I've got everything figured out, I'll give coaching.
Alrighty, so maybe they see you here at some point for a set 2 discussion once we have a bit more results coming in from China and we want to discuss what's good and what's not with potential lists, maybe?
Oh, wait. I've got a YouTube channel as well. You could go check that out. And there'll probably be a new video.
Do you post stuff, though, is the question?
It's going to be more consistent going into set 2.
Alrighty, that's what I love to hear.
Yeah, this was meant to be my side game because I used to play Flesh and Blood for a living for like the past 3-4 years. But after going to Houston, I'm hooked to Riftbound now. I'm all in.
You're playing the better game.
You can expect more over there. I mean, I won't argue it.
I guess every like good / top player from other TCGs right now that has tried Riftbound is getting hooked. So
yeah,
go drop a follow to talk. Also on Metafy, by the way, you guys, Metafy people all the time think it's you have to pay, but like you can drop a free follow that just like will send you a notification when Tog updates the guide or when Tog publishes something new. So if you're interested in like Tog stuff specifically, you can just drop a free follow there and get the news when needed, and then you can decide if you want to pay then or not. So yeah, feel free to get in there.
Yeah.
As you can see, Tog is someone that has strong opinions, but
Hyperbolic.
but so far it makes sense, right? If you org and you like try to get what's the point behind it, everything makes sense. If you've not been convinced yet, start testing, and maybe you'll end up with Rambo in S tier, huh?
And it's the truth. We'll all go to church together.
Oh, I'm definitely not. I'm going to be the Satanist priest in there.
Except for Catch, I guess.
I just want the church to burn down and all the believers to be crying in the ashes. That's what I'm looking forward to. Thank you, brother, for jumping on. Was so cool to have you there. Hope we can make some stuff together soon. Would be sick.
Would love to. Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. This was fun.
Thank you, brother. And hope you can still rest, because you seem to be having a tough time, brother, being up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm about to go hit the sack, have a quick nap.
Yeah, get some rest, brother. See you. Thank you so much.
All right, easy. Later.
See ya, Tog. Was so cool. Was so cool having Tog in there. Really loved it. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. It was cool. I'm definitely going to try and make an edited version of this and post it to YouTube, so you have regular videos in going into this next week. We have this one. We have talked about Ezreal. We have talked about Irelia. We have talked about Ornn. And we have talked about Rek'sai. So if you want lists and thought process going into set 2 for these 4 legends, feel free to watch the vote. Once again, it's free. You don't have to follow. You don't have to sub, whatever. You can just watch it for free. It's going to be up on YouTube by tomorrow on the vote channel. So just going to link it down there. Right about 7 in Paris time. So wherever you are, it depends. But like tomorrow morning for me, I'm just going to cut the stream, edit it like real fast. Just download it, post it, and then you guys can have it on YouTube. How about we find a cool raid to end that insane Riftbound night? Silent Night is streaming. Let's just jump onto Silent Night stream, I guess. Silent Night, where's the dude at? Silent _night, I believe is the name. Yup, correct. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice night. You too, guys. Thank you again. Was lovely to have all of them new faces here. If you want to talk Riftbound meta and Riftbound stuff, the raid is launching. Feel free to drop a follow. It's free. You just have notifications. When I go live, I post content regularly on YouTube. And I also have a side project on MetaFi that's going to launch really soon. So if you want to get better at Riftbound, feel free to stay around. And we're going to have the opportunity to do a lot of stuff together. Thank you guys for the support. It was super cool tonight. Yeah, just love the time with you guys. So big shout outs to you for being here. Big shout outs to Tog for dropping by. Thank you so much, brother. And feel free to, once again, go leave a follow on this MetaFi. It's free. You get updates on content videos, and it's great quality. I can tell you that. I've had several people I work with and I deeply trust read his work and say it's a very good guide. So feel free to get in there. Thank you guys for the support. I'll see you, for French viewers, I'll see you this Friday on OTP for a show. For English ones, I'll see you on YouTube or on Twitter. You can also jump on my Twitter to talk meta with me. And I'll see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. for more Set to Talk. See you guys. It was lovely. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the follows. And up until next time, take care.